and I kind of want to. Oh my God! Whoops! Hey guys, welcome. This is the All Night Coder. We've got the Open Directory talk here, and we've been talking already, but I'm starting the recording a little bit late, so we're going to jump back into it. Right now, we're talking with Barb and her experience with GeoDirectory and Elementor, and we're going to do some introductions, and then we'll get on with the meeting. So sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to kind of capture some of this as well.
Yeah, important to do.
So a lot of coding has went into that, and it's just
I've got snippets, like all the way down the page. It's just amazing.
Oh, no.
So I don't know what I'm going to do about that because I have a lot of unused CSS on the site because I've been messing around with it since 2015. So I have to figure out how to use there's a way. I use NitroPack, which I absolutely love.
Let me ask Scott, because you use GeoDirect, because I'm not really, like, I've used the plugin rarely, but so let me so with Scott's used that and CrocoBlock. With CrocoBlock, Scott, compared to Geo, do you find you're doing any coding? Like,
not really. Not like hardly at all. But
you know kind of what she's running into though, right? Like, so those things you probably don't need for, like, it's just that solution. Because I was looking at the directory course, and in the directory course I've got 2 lines of code, like, and that was for like almost pretty much everything. Like, I guess you could go, matter of fact, 1 line of code or 1 set of codes was for blog read time, and that was just so people didn't go out and grab a plugin. So it's like, did you need that? No. But so you're finding that, I mean, she's probably spot on. It's just the integration doesn't do exactly what they want. Maybe they'll update that, right?
well, it's the way GeoDirectory is structured. It's a lot different. It depends so much on short codes, and sometimes you can't figure out how to get in and edit all the features of the short code itself. So that is like been a big problem for me. So just so you know, Barb, I have a website of restaurants, and now I'm creating a new one. The new one's going to be Elementor and CrocoBlock alone. So I'm rebuilding basically what I already have, but I'm going to put it, I got a better domain name, so I'm going to put it over there, move it over. But I've been frustrated with GeoDirectory for a long time, their theme.
I've heard that. Like, it's just not flexible. It's kind of like getting yourself into a theme, and the theme has specific options. So it's not as flexible. I mean, yeah, you download a plugin and you can use whatever theme you want. So you've got the flexibility there, but I feel like it's like the same boat. If it doesn't serve 90% of what you need, like, same thing with the theme, if it doesn't serve, then at some point you've got to customize it. And how many customizations do you really want to make? Like, it just becomes, messed up. Before we get too deep into this, welcome everybody else to the chat. We're going to be opening up questions, looking at sites. But anybody else want to do a quick intro just on, where you're from, what platform you're using, and then we'll come back. I'm sure Barb has more questions, and we'd like to help out. We'd like to maybe check out some designs. But anybody else, you guys are on mute, so feel free to unmute yourself or type in chat, and let's get through a few intros. And if nobody's intro, let's go to questions and talk about how we can build as a whole.
All right, I'll give a short intro. Hi, this is Bhupinder Singh. I know my name is pretty long, so you can call me Mav. Everybody from the States
Did you say Matt?
Mav, M-A-V, Mav. I mean, this name comes from my gaming days when I used to video game with my friends.
Maverick.
So yeah, Maverick. So anyways, I'm a farmer. As I said, I'm from India, Mumbai. Excuse me. City of Mumbai. I was an engineer. Now I have my own company. We are an exporter of food like grains and fruits and vegetables. And my whole website business kind of started because I wanted to do some SEO for my company's website. And then, I realized that there are a lot of things which I can do with whatever I know. So I already own a website. But then I always wanted to make a directory. I always wanted to get into this directory business. And then, I found your Facebook page, and now I'm here.
Okay, nice. Well, welcome. We appreciate having you. I know it's went a little bit further than that. I think you started, I don't know if you started with a theme, but you actually picked up the course. And, I think just a few days later, I had looked and you came a long way with, whoa, I hate when it does that, like just pulls up my videos and everything else. Yeah, it seems like you're doing really well with just picking up, learning, and going on with like a custom directory. Before the custom directory, did you use Listing Pro?
No, I've never used anything which I'm using currently. This is the first time. I've used WordPress, the basic generic WordPress with a customized theme, but I've never used Element or any of the tools.
All right, perfect. Yeah, we're glad to hear you. Lula, let me double check on what is going on there. It looks like participants, Lula, you're not muted. Can you say something now? We can't hear you. Your mic doesn't go up and down either. And Mav, thanks for coming. You're super awesome. Thanks for the support.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey.
Thank you, Violet.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so just give like a little intro. I'm using Listing Pro as well, and then I am using it for a phone repair shops directory. That's a niche market basically. So the reason I choose that is because I noticed Google kind of suppresses search results when it comes to third-party phone repair, just because of trademark. Some of the keywords are trademark words, so, and all those things. So I thought creating a directory page for these phone repair shops would be like some, all the shops in one place is a good idea, basically. So what I did was, I'm also a website developer background, so I have some knowledge of customizing things, and I customized the booking like specifically for this kind of business. I'm about to add like the jobs section to it. Yeah, and I still have some questions. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming. Where are you calling from? Where?
I'm here, but originally I'm from Ethiopia.
Wait, when you say here, is that
in the USA? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
All of you are.
Yeah. I'm in the USA too, but I know a lot of these guys are not. So that's what I was asking. Super cool. Well, we're glad to have you, and we'd love to hear your questions when we get to it. You're definitely right. So opening these up, and this is just a little bit of knowledge, like the more you can offer, like I'm not trying to tell you guys spread yourself so thin, you've got one of everything, but the more reasons for a user to come back, whether it was a job board, a forum. I'll give you a perfect example. So I get a few wedding sites with different locations, and a bride or groom would use a wedding site like once, really, right? They book all the vendors, they book the DJ, the photographer, maybe they do all that through your site. But how can you get those guys to come back? And that's
sorry about that.
No problem, Lula. So how can you get those guys to come back? And that's where your creative thinking should come out, right? It's job board. Well, let me give you the wedding industry. Wedding industry would be a forum, right? You could do a forum and be like, hey, what did you do your first week of being married? Or tell us about your honeymoon ideas. Or a resale shop, right? All the things that brides keep that, they couldn't get rid of or that they didn't rent. Or what about an RSVP list? If you can get 50 of your friends to RSVP through a website, 50 other friends have seen your website, so it's stuck in their head. The idea is getting users to come back is key. So I don't like on my directory, I'll take a one-time user, but I'd rather that user come back and use my site on a daily or weekly, or even with phone repair. You don't need that weekly, right? But how can you make it integrative to, how about phone tips and tricks? How about phone hacks? How about, whether it's blog articles, and keep those users coming back. And that works for anybody. You just have to think about your specific niche. Thanks for joining again, and we will definitely jump into some questions. Anybody else want to do an intro? Keep in mind, it looks like most of you guys are muted. Sergio, welcome to the group.
All right, thanks. I finally can jump on one of these calls with you guys. So my name is Sergio. I'm a San Francisco Bay Area, what's the word I'm looking for? I went blank. I grew up and raised in San Francisco Bay Area, currently in Santiago, Chile. I've got a business partner in the Bay Area, and we do multimedia PR work, and we've had this idea for the last 10 years because we complete or 10 years in business, and one of the businesses is a directory, and I found you guys, and I picked up a lot of tips, but I think my ambitious mind may need something completely different, but I feel that the Listing Pro theme, which I'm currently using, is I want to make it work for what we're trying to accomplish. And I'm excited to be on this call to see what tips and ideas I can pick from the rest of you. So
Sure. Perfect. Where are you calling in from, Sergio?
from Santiago, Chile.
Oh, perfect. I think you said that. Awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. I do want to touch base on, matter of fact, I'll wait for some introductions. If anybody else wants to do a last minute introduction, let's do it. I think we heard from a lot of people, but again, I'll give this opportunity if anybody else wants to do an intro. Nicholas, I think, is in another WebEx. So I think it's only Lubna, but that's okay. So, I mean, we're not forcing anybody to talk today. But yeah, interrupt me if by chance you want to do last minute. I will say that I'm a big supporter of Listing Pro, just so and some of you guys know this because I've seen these names before. I've worked with a lot of you guys individually. Listing Pro is great out of the box. Like, so if you're looking for, well, 3 years ago, I actually bought 5 different templates for a client and is paying mega money, right? I bought 5 templates and tested things out, and Listing Pro came top notch. So that's why I chose to support what they do. I'm not affiliated. I don't get paid by Listing Pro, it's no affiliation there. But just out of the box was a great solution. If you guys haven't already seen one of the videos on my channel, a lot of people were like saying, oh, it was so hard to set up. And there was like a lot of stuff that went into like them doing it for months. So I came out with this video, and it's an hour and 39 minutes. And it's how to create a Listing Pro site in under 2 hours. And that was, I mean, it was, I don't have a lot of subscribers, but the subscribers that I do have are genuine. I think one of the videos has 30,000 views, right? So it can be done. I don't recommend doing this for a client. Like, I would never build out their site for 2 hours, but it with theme settings and loco translate and all the wordings and things like that, it was definitely great out of the box. What we ran into, and this is following up on Sergio, is if it doesn't do everything out of the box. I know not everybody here is using Listing Pro. We already heard, people are using geodirectories. You have to find a solution that is either something that you can manage, especially not being a web developer. Like, I understand not everybody here is a web developer. That's cool. A theme is perfect. A set of plugins and tool sets seems perfect if it does what you want. When it doesn't do what you want, you run into issues that Barb had, and she definitely knows her stuff, but you run into having code snippets or developing something that has so many different plugins. So we kind of took a look at this. I got a lot of clients that would ask me like 15, 20 different questions. And I'm like, I think Listing Pro might be able to do that. We're going to have to load it up on a staging server. We're going to have to break into the template. And unfortunately with Listing Pro, it's not just one template, right? It's like 3 templates for one piece. And that's when we found sometimes if it doesn't do what you want, going custom, right? And I don't mean custom like, oh, you got to build it yourself. But if you have a good design for eye, we talked a little bit about CrocoBlock and Elementor Pro. I'll tell you, there's probably 2 or 3 lines of coding in this complete website. Like, and I didn't really need those lines. It was just something fun, like this read time here. I told you guys before we started, I threw that into coding, right? Just so I didn't need the plugin to say, hey, the average person reads 60 words per minute. What is that divided by my post content? This should take 5 minutes to read. Actually, this one's 2 minutes to read. But again, I'm going to show you just a little bit of what you can do by customizing your own stuff, right? This is my card layout. Actually, let's go back to the homepage because I have 2 card layouts. I have actually 3 card layouts. I have an adventure trip. And again, we put the data that we want. So it didn't limit me to what I kind of wanted to build. Actually, there's 4 templates here with my blog posts too. And you don't have to create everything from scratch, but it really allowed me to, and I still support Listing Pro, I still manage a group, but it allowed me to kind of do what I wanted. So keep that in mind, guys. If it doesn't do 90% of what you want to do, at some point you're going to need customization from either yourself, a web developer, or at some point when you're growing, a custom solution can be really fun. The only problem is I built everything, right? Not coding, but I had to design this with Elementor Pro. Some of you guys are really getting comfortable with Elementor Pro, so this would be easy, right? It's just a red space with menu items on the left and right. So again, no coding, but hopefully that helps. If you're getting too big of a point where you have those 50 plugins, there are other solutions that aren't limited. But let's jump into some questions and answers that you guys have. We'll do a few questions and answers. I'll give you guys a few pointers and tips and tricks on marketing, advertising, styling, and then again from the notes on the event. If you guys want us to take a look at a site and kind of just keep in mind, if we look at a site, I'll tell you the truth, right? So from a web design, I've been designing for over 20 years. I've been coding since way before that. Business-wise, I think my business has only been in business for 8 years. So that's like, when I decided to just go full-time instead of like here and there and freelance. But I do super well. Like, my design and style, I have my own style, but if you guys do post your website, know that it's not just these 12 people in this group. It's going up on a YouTube channel, and I will rip it apart with some free commentation, right? So and when I say rip apart, I mean that in a friendly way. So let's start with questions, comments. Yeah, you guys seen my previous video. We don't hold back, right? If it doesn't, so my mindset is, and we can even ask the group, right? We're not going to get into like a debate or anything, but is this site trustworthy enough for somebody to spend money on, if that's what you're doing, if you've got business plans? And I think a lot of it comes down to that. Is it professional enough for me to trust with my money? And we all know those sites where you go to it and you see an awesome item, but you're like, yeah, right, I'm not putting my credit card details in that site. And that's what it's about, right? So let's start in. If you guys have questions and answers, feel free. If nobody's speaking, unmute yourself and speak. There's also a hand button in Zoom that you can always raise a hand and we'll call on you. And then again, chat, I get to it as soon as we have a break. So
I do have a question.
Sure.
Somebody made a comment, maybe it was you, about getting people back to your site. One time is fine, but we've got a really high bounce rate. And are there others? How are others bringing people back? So right now we have high, or a lot of our traffic is organic search because I have a lot of articles, but they're not, the SEO on them is middling. Okay. So how are others? Are others doing blog posts? What effect are they seeing? If they're not, how are they getting people back to the site to use the directory, et cetera?
I'm going to give you a little bit of my world, and then we'll let anybody else chime in, because for others, like, I do want to hear other people's experiences. Building over 70 directories, I get to see a lot of things that work and that don't work, right? I'm going to bring you into my world a little bit. Hopefully you can see my screen, but I'm a kiteboarder. I did lessons for 5 years for a company. I'm huge in the industry. And when I say I'm huge, I just booked a vacation 4 months ago for this month. So 4 months out, and booked a 16-person house in 48 hours. Everybody was paid and wanted to go. So again, I'm huge in the industry, so I know my groups. To get repeat users, a couple years back, I had an investor wanting to invest in this website, and we took a look. And again, this is my world. You're going to have to translate this how you can. But all we had was a directory, and it had 6,000 listings at the time. I just redid this and removed the 6,000 listings, which weren't getting SEO. But it wasn't offering anything better than Google. Like, yeah, it was niche. So like Google, if you wanted to find a kiteboarding shop, you would have to Google it. Again, it's possible, right? All of our businesses are usually on Google, but I didn't offer anything more than a niche group search. Like Bahamas directory, that sounds great because I don't have to look at Google. I can go to a Bahamas directory and find everything I want to do, from tourist, fun, attractions, home improvement. So yeah, that if you have a niche like that where you can do it, that's great. But my investor and me sat down and talked, and we really wanted to bring back, and for my personal site, seeing a lot of sites fail and not make it, is how can you be the #1 site at what you do? And that's why we offered riding locations. And again, this pertains to me. This could be content. It could be anything that you want that Google doesn't offer this information, right? Yes, you can find the 520 Slick, which is a kiteboarding location near me. I actually let people submit these for free. So it's just a front-end submission form. They can submit all the information about this riding location. Does it have bathrooms? Does it have what type of water? You won't find this on Google because it's contributor submitted, right? Somebody has submitted this information with personal, actually these are my pictures, but personalized pictures and personal information. So an example on that is I have a buddy who went to Kite Beach in Aruba, and you wouldn't know because it's nowhere on the internet, but he was kiting at Kite Beach, and some guys with all black clothes and machine guns approached him. And apparently you can't kite from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock. And it's tourist hours. And they wanted to confiscate his kite gear. They didn't know if he was migrating and parachuting in from somewhere else, even though it's not a parachute, but they didn't know. And that information is nowhere on Google. So my whole point of this is providing information to keeping users come back. So we've got riding locations, we've got shops and schools, we've got obviously blog posts. There are a lot of cool tools that you can use. Like we've checked into, and this is just a fun one that I've been entertaining. I haven't purchased the premium, but how about Gamerpress? This was a big video that I just did, and I'm just gonna show you the add-ons. Like this is really cool, right? So I wanna have a leaderboard. I wanna have contributors. I want people to see and get points for logging in. I want people to get points for reviewing. And that is what my 5th version of my site, that's what I'm basing it around. Like I want the user interactivity. So you don't log in once, you log in as much as possible, trying to earn these points. And then where can you use these points? Whether it's just fame on a leaderboard, or whether it's, you know, publicity, whether it's your shop or school shows up first, or whether I have a product shop and I sell t-shirts, and of course I'm going to mark them up $10, but you can get $10 off if you spend 1,000 points. So it's again, Gamerpress is something I've been entertaining. It does have, like, the free version isn't as fun. It doesn't have the stuff that I wanted, but I am able to kind of test some of those things out. And that's a key. Again, we said forums people come back for, right? Entertaining content. A blog post, I feel like if you had a great article section, like we talk about phones, like I'm recently into finding all these iPhone hacks, right? That you can turn off this and you can do that. That would be a great resource. But I feel like a blog post is like a one-time SEO. This is how you found my site. So I don't really focus on blog posts on my site other than, and you'll notice it's even in the footer. Like I keep it in the, it should be in the footer. Yeah, so it's not like a major, like once you hit my site, I want you doing something else. And I think that that'll help. But I'm sure we'll have somebody else chime in. How do you get your repeat traffic, right? Valuable content, what else? Okay, yeah, so valuable.
I don't dealing with the same issue, which is you build a directory site and then how to keep people coming back. When I first created, well, probably, 8 years in, my research suggested that evergreen content, optimized evergreen content, plus events, plus business listings would be attractive to Google. And it's not something new. There's plenty of sites, resy.com, which is a restaurant reservation site. Yelp does it too. So I had a lot. I was previously a blog, it was a food blog. So I had a lot of content. And now it's really a matter of, how do I optimize it? Because I don't want to be, there's not a lot of traffic going to all that old content.
You're right. I think so. I noticed. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, I noticed that when I imported my first, 3 years ago, I imported 72,000 listings and then 300,000 listings for a client. You're right. They got instant traffic, and I thought it was going to penalize them. Long story short, they actually got great traffic off those, but that was the one-time visit, and there was nothing wrong with that. Having so much content that, yeah, they got that one-time visitor. Again, I think my major focus for my direct, I'm past that one-time visitor, right? I imported 6,000. I seen the one-time traffic, but I think my new mindset of this fifth design was how can I get repeat users? And that was like the whole reason I kind of redid my site. And again, it doesn't take a rebuild. It takes a different mindset. How can you get, interactivity and profiles? And again, you'll see the contributor here. I want people's names if they contribute, right? So I want them to stand out. I want you to be able to click on this and let go. And that was just like Gamerpress and a little bit of custom, because I'm using CrocoBlox and Hello Elementor. But it was just a little bit of fun there. Like, how can I display that? Somebody asked in chat, does Gamerpress work with Listing Pro? I think it does. They actually have a free version that, definitely create a staging environment or make a backup and test it out. And the free version, I've been able to test a lot of features. Again, it doesn't have the pro add-ons, but you can at least see if, when you log in, and when I'm showing you this, I would never pay $49.49. It all comes bundled into one, right? So it's like 200 something bucks. And I haven't made that leap forward until I'm done with my testing, but I'm super happy with just the free stuff. Like when I log in, I can set points. I call them kite points. When you log in, you get 1 kite point. When you register, you get 5 kite points. When you, and again, there was no coding involved. So you have an error when installing the theme. What, Listing Pro? And what error are you getting? Let's say something about CSS. If you can elaborate, I can help you out. A lot of it.
So sorry, I was trying to write it. So it says your browser sent a request that this server could not understand. Additionally, 400 bad request error was encountered while trying to use an error document to handle the request.
Are you looking at it right now? Can you screenshot it and share it? No.
Yeah, but I don't know how to send you how to share the.
Let me see. Right here in chat, there's a button next to that emoji that looks like I can download a file. So if you're to screenshot it, we can definitely take a look. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it's usually either one of two things. Your server is timing out and doing something there, which I would be able to tell from the error. Or the second thing is a lot of people download the main file from Listing Pro, which has a bunch of small files in it. And it's not actually the Listing Pro theme. It's a bunch of other files. So, taking a look at that, and if you're still having a problem, at some point, message me. Whether it's on Facebook, whether it's in here, I'll install it for you, man. I won't charge you anything. So we can take a look. Again, server could be an issue too. So see if you can get that screenshot, post it here in chat. And if not, again, just message me. We'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay, I'm checking here how to do it. Yeah, but
I'm sorry, what was that?
What?
I couldn't hear you. What was that last part?
No, that I'm trying to see like how to share it, but I haven't found.
That's all right. Listen, so I'll tell you what you do. You click on my name and send a message directly to me with a login, and we'll install it while we're in here. So we'll make it super easy for you. Again, don't send that to the group chat. You want to select 2 and put overnight coder in there. And then send me over the link and some login credentials. I'll just install it for you, or at least see the error. And yeah, again, I won't do it live. We'll hide your credentials. Well, I'll help you.
Okay.
We'll make it easy. Who else? I know some of you guys got some good questions. If not, Bart, I'm sure she has some good questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. This is Mal here. So let's. For example, if a directory has, let's say, 20,000 or 30,000 listings or entries, so at some point in time, you will have to automate the entries, right? For a beginner website, it's going to be a little difficult to manually put in like 1,000 entries or 2,000 entries, right? So, but then once you're done with putting in entries, how do you enable business owners to claim their business if they want to modify their business listing? So for example, if I do the business listing for them, just to populate my website and just to put content on my website, how will I be able to enable the customer to claim their property?
Now, if you're talking about a custom solution, kind of like my course, how could you do it there?
Yes.
All right,
No,
perfect.
okay.
Go ahead.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Oh, so Listing Pro automatically comes with the Claim Now feature, right? You're not using Listing Pro, but Listing Pro comes with the claim, which is a button that says, hey, if this thing it hasn't been claimed, go ahead and claim your listing. So a lot of people import listings, say 5,000 or whatever number. And then from there, if it's not owned by a specific author, then of course they can claim it when they go through the claim process. Depending on people have it set up, they can either pay or claim it for free. In a case of the custom directory, because you're following my course, I'll show you what we just did here, which is super easy. And again, we can get together on how I did it, or maybe I'll create a video. But if you were to look at this test sample, this is the custom directory kind of from the course. I did the same thing. So what we did was we said, hey, it's either claimed or it's not claimed, right? So in this case, it's claimed. But let's go back to a different provider. I think it's Bacon Donna. And wait. No, this one, let's try Tiffany Rogers. Whoops, sorry, I'm using a VPN that's acting crazy. In this case, this one hasn't been claimed. So that's just something in the dashboard that says, hey, it's either been claimed or it hasn't. And again, I'll get with you specifically on your solution. But the idea is if they were to click this, well, you get a form or you get some type of notification. Now from here, of course, you can, and with custom, it's really cool because you can design the workflow. So this guy, he doesn't charge anything for any of these business plans. He's actually utilizing something using the sidebar here with his own custom billing platform. So here, he just needs payment or information details that associates them to that clinic. And he'll take that contact form and click that claim button on the back end. For somebody like me, like I'd probably like ask some general information. Hey, please, kind of prove that you own this business. And I would jump right into pricing, right? Hey, did you want the free plan? Did you want the $9.99 plan? Did you want the $19 plan? From there, take them to payment. Then it would pend on the back end from me. And as soon as I've approved it, then I'd hit that claim button. So again, think about the workflow, because again, you're on a custom solution. We kind of get to pick that. How do we want that to work? Right. So that's the cool part about what you've chosen is, again, choose that workflow, create that workflow on a piece of paper. And when we talk, let's just wrap it together using the same bits and pieces.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I have a question. What is the value of, well, first of all, the first question is, where do you get 5,000 listings? And what is the value to you as the directory owner of having 5,000 listings on a directory and some of the information could be incorrect?
You're right. So I didn't 3 years ago, again, and some of you guys have heard this, 3 years ago, I didn't see the value of scraping content because I thought Google was going to penalize you. So I started doing small scrapes, grabbing Scrape Storm for Mac, and then, oh my God, why is my mind Scrape Storm and shoot, and I mention them all the time. So there was two, one for a Mac, one for a PC, Scrape Storm and Botzel, and they both had free trials, but you could only download 100 entries. So it was great to test it out on my computer and my current, at the time, my wife's computer. And that was great. It was super cool because I could scrape that information from places like Google, which is, so let's just take a look. So Google could come in here. You could type in a keyword, which I'm just going to say kiteboarding schools. And the Scrape Storm would literally pull the stuff that I needed, business title. It doesn't have all the information, right? Because you'll never find it all on Google, but would just scrape these business listings and then test them for, duplicates. And it was a really cool system to see. But again, I thought you would get penalized. And then one day, oh, by the way, Scrapestorm and BotSoul, both are, it's kind of like having a macro. So like if you had a random site, like let's just say you had somebody else's directory, you could actually do something like this, right? Okay, I want to highlight this. I want to press the tab key and highlight Kite Shop. And then I want to press the tab key, or maybe I want to click on this and my macro would say, I want to highlight whatever the field was for address. And then I want to highlight the phone. And that could, so a macro is something like you can simulate with your mouse and keyboard. So see how I simulated. I clicked here, I went here, I copied the address, and I pasted in somewhere. So macro tools were really cool then too, because like I figured it doesn't even have to be Google, Yelp, Yellow Pages. I could actually scrape anything. I would just have to go through setting that up. And it wasn't web design stuff. It was like, okay, record my mouse movement and it would put it into different fields. And they have so many tools. Nowadays, I skip all that. On Fiverr for $5. I can get 5,000 or 1,000 or 10,000 listings for a set amount. I'd rather do that than run my own resources. And I've got a guy on Fiverr that I just work with a lot. So when I have somebody that wants listing scrapes, I no longer use my computer resources. I just tell him, look, these are the categories, this is the location. So that's the first part. How do you do it? Obviously, you WP all import when you're done and import those fields into wherever you want. What's the benefit? So again, I didn't think there was a benefit until I had that client who, before we even launched, I had 75,000 and then another client with 300,000 listings in. And all of a sudden we're getting signups. We're getting traffic that was way better than the traffic on my own personal site. And that was amazing to see. Like instantly, before the site even launched, we got people like, hey, why haven't you reviewed this? And I'm like, we haven't reviewed it because the site's not even launched. There's still dummy content on it. So it was amazing to see just the huge difference in traffic. Now, I will tell you, there's a downside to that. You know, I know that especially after COVID, a lot of businesses aren't open. And Google, I mean, yeah, Google says this one is temporarily closed, but it doesn't tell you all the locations. It doesn't have updated hours. It doesn't, you know, matter of fact, I got a scrape listing of 6,000 for kiteboarding. And while it seemed great, I started looking at some of them. Some of them I know for a fact don't have kiteboarding gear, but some review said something about kiteboarding. So with scrape listings, you really have to be specific. I had a kitchen cabinet painter, and that was like, because it wasn't a Google a category, that was the worst scrape I ever did in my life. It was 5,000 listings, and looking at them, at some point, we wanted kitchen cabinet painting companies who did kitchen cabinet painting. At some point, I'm looking at 50 Home Depot. For those of you guys don't know, it's a hardware store in the United States because they sold kitchen cabinet painting. So, you know, you have to, sometimes it works great. Sometimes you have to go through it. And going through 6,000 listings sucks. Now, the cool thing about that, if your business hours are wrong, if you're out of business, who cares, right? Like, okay, that business listing doesn't do anything for me. It needs to be removed. But if your business hours are wrong, or if I have the wrong address, I actually take that as a plus, because now the company should want to sign in, claim their listing, and fix it, right? I don't put bad addresses in on purpose, but you know, if 1,000 out of 20,000 listings have a bad address, good for that. Like I'm cool with that, because hopefully they would want to claim that and update it, right? I'm getting messages all over the place. Hopefully that answered your question. Again, I don't want bad content, but you're right. I see a lot, like we just did a lady's site. And unfortunately, when I looked on Google, some of those businesses were closed. With COVID, it's really different because a lot of businesses closed, and it was just really didn't benefit anybody.
We're in the food and beverage sector, and it's such a fragile industry right now.
Right.
And you know, there a lot of them just, you know, big brewery in our little town here in Southern Oregon just is closing. So people haven't been able to hang on. So I'm of the mind that it's more dangerous for my reputation, because we're just Oregon, to front load listings.
You might be right. In some cases, again, I backtracked, right? I start off with 6,000, I get the traffic. I'm losing the traffic because I removed all those sites, but I'd actually like to curate it. And what I mean by curate is I'd like to load those 6,000 in draft. Again, I don't really have the time to do this, but I'd like to go through every about description, make sure they sell kiteboarding gear. And then I'd like to go through every about description. I'd like to toss it in an AI bot and toss it back in. That way I get a little bit of, benefit from having something different on Google. Right. And not just that benefit, but maybe the SEO is better. Maybe I start putting my keywords in there. But to go through 6,000 listings, it's going to be a little rough. So front ending, when I first started, I was doing everything manually. And that was actually, I was getting a high retention rate because when I was done, I would hit them up on Facebook with a 2-sentence. And from my personal account, and be like, hey, look, I just seen you guys here. Is this your business? And at least they would look at it, right? And they'd see that, oh, I can claim it for free. So, but that was after every listing, right? And again, there's benefits to both. And just being in Oregon, maybe you take that time out and do, it depends.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do a lot of marketing, basically, to get people to sign up.
It could be like that. One of my tricks for kiteboarding niche is I'm in all the groups. I told you that. But what I like to do is because so everybody, I can show you the Facebook groups. I don't want to waste your time with it, but everybody's saying, hey, where can I kite in Central Florida? All I do, I don't post as the admin. I just grab the archive link from Central Florida and I post it. And because my groups are so, where can I kite in Tarifa? What's a good month to kite in Tarifa? I get so much traffic just from that. Well, I did until I redid the site. I get, and that just brought a lot. So it was really cool to see. Maybe that helps, right? Facebook groups. How did you find me? A YouTube channel and Facebook group, right? Create a Facebook group, let people submit stuff. I got a hand up. Sergio, did you want to?
Yeah. So I'm just going to ask you the same question I sent you privately. Yeah, I mean, is there a way to scrape specific ethnically owned businesses? Because I've been doing it, manually, and there's some success. At least success is to I guess the slowness. I knew it was going to be slow because there's no way to confirm unless I know the business owner, or in the about page it says founded by, or it's run by a specific ethnic background. But I'm not sure. I've searched. Not too deeply, but to see if there's a way to do that.
I honestly don't have a method of doing that. I haven't really looked into it, but I got people with Black owned sites, right? And they're trying to do something just for that, or somebody just doing grease. And I just don't, I guess you could put Black owned as like a category, but I don't think that is going to be exactly what you want, right? So and that was just an idea, but I just don't know how to get to filter that down. Maybe because I haven't tried.
Yeah.
Well, I know that there's, I think there's a group in Portland, as an example, that's just Black-owned businesses. I think they have a website. So I think more ethnic groups are developing loose, informal groups on the web.
I mean, you could probably go through chambers of commerce, but one of the things I've discovered is that the chambers will accept members, not necessarily from specific ethnic backgrounds, but they'll accept anybody who supports African American businesses or Asian American businesses, or whatever it may be. So then if you scrape each chamber in each area, I mean, you still have to go back in and see if they're owned by that specific group or not.
Lula's mentioning something that could definitely work. I mean, so when I do I'll do if I want to eat Mexican food for the night, I'll do Mexican restaurant near me, and she's kind of onto something there because I probably I've never tried putting that into a bot, but the macro stuff that would definitely pull stuff from that page. So maybe something like that would work for you if that was your category or your search term, like Vietnamese hair salon.
Yeah, no, I tried. And I tried that, and one of the things that I ran across is that there's a lot of, in this case, restaurants that are not owned, but they're they're chains. They, hey, we own, what's a Japanese old Japanese restaurant. I mean, it's just they're owned by, not by the ethnic background that you're trying to support or highlight, but you know, that specific chain or that specific group has that ethnic background restaurant in their business, in their portfolio. Correct. So
Hey, real quick question from before, and Lula, thanks for all that information. I see you in the chat.
You're welcome.
For who is this? Jamie, this server sucks. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I finally was able to download File Manager to try, because obviously it's not accepting my copy of Listing Pro. One of the big things is I would stick away from downloading. I mean, even if you got it for a great deal, I don't want to put you on blast, but you didn't download Listing Pro from Listing Pro. You got it from a cheap site who was selling it cheap for whatever cause. But again, your server won't even, like, this thing has been loading and now, so I think some of the problem might be your server. I'm still going to try here just with my copy. Again, you're going to need your own license, but maybe we can get it in that way. But I will tell you, your server is extremely slow when it came to uploading. So check that out. I'll keep you in mind in our personal chat, but I just wanted to show you that's what I'm doing here. Sorry. Any other questions?
So the problem is the server?
That's some of the problem. Like, I definitely, like, it seems, but wait, we're about to find out. So I'm going to try through File Manager, but definitely your plugins not uploading Listing Pro. Matter of fact, look at the time on this. This thing is probably going to take forever, which is probably what was happening here. Your server's boo-boo, man. It might go through. So stick around. I'll keep this page open, but I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, this should take 10 seconds tops, right?
No, don't tell me that, please.
Listen, I didn't buy the server. I give you a recommendation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you didn't pay up front. But yeah.
Yeah, I did.
You can scrape that. The good news is you probably only paid $5 for the year, because this is garbage, man. Refund your money.
What do you recommend? What servers do you recommend?
I'll be honest with you, man. I used to run, so I've done this for many years right now with directory sites. I've been running Cloudways. I think a lot of people can vouch for Cloudways in this group. It was a night and day difference for most of my clients. Granted, it's cloud server. It's the minimal, I think, is like $10 to $12 a month. And back in the day, you know, for a shop or my personal profile page, I could have gotten away with like $1 hosting, right? But this one's got queries ran. And look, I mean, the plugin, this is not right. So, I mean, we're just trying to upload a theme here, and ignore this bottom one. This is just the processing. This is how much it's, it's horrible. It's horrible. And listen, you got to think about it this way. If somebody comes to your site and your site is slow, if I have to wait 15, 20, first off, I'm not waiting 15, 20 seconds, you'll never get my business. Like, if this is a front end issue, it could just be upload. I didn't test the front end of your default WordPress site, but you know, if it's, I'm not sticking around for longer than 7 seconds. I'm probably not sticking around for that. You know, so again, you'll never get business on something like that.
I get you. You're right. Like, it's the starter issue. Yeah, but I'm gonna ask for a refund. I think I'm in time.
I do whatever you need to do, man. This is just this. I showed you. This hasn't even started uploading, I feel like. So we're gonna get off that subject, guys. Any other good questions? Matter of fact, if not,
thanks.
We'll
Either way, thanks.
I got a hand up. Rosemarie, let's hear it. I'd love to hear it.
Tim, I was just wondering, you know, in talking about free, people can upload their information free. I've actually taken that off my site at the moment because I was getting so much spam on it.
On the free listings, were they relevant to where you were?
No, not at all.
And you're still with Listing Pro, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So at that point, you would probably, if you already tried it, I probably would have started with the reCAPTCHA for listings only if it was bot traffic, right? So I will tell you that it's not just I don't like to just tell you what I prefer. I like to go off facts, right? And if you watch that Dragon's Den video, by the way, guys, if you guys aren't in our Facebook group, I know I have Listing Pro Facebook groups, but I'm trying to get everybody over into this one. Oh, please don't pop up anything inappropriate. Into this one, just because we all fit in the same category, right? It's directory websites, development, and managing and ideas. Again, if you need a link or anything like that, I'll post it in chat, but I'm trying to get people over to this one. There was a while ago where I could probably search for it, but Dragon's Den came up on TV. And maybe you've seen that one where they were even telling her, look, a freemium model nowadays, you can sign up to so many different sites for free. You know, I can get a free profile on Google. I can get a free profile on, I think I can do one on Yelp and TripAdvisor. I can also pay premium to get shown, you know, above or remove ads and do all that crazy stuff. But freemium models nowadays are huge to me. I'd like to test out the success first. I'd like to test out your platform and then trust you with money. But there are some scenarios, like my kiteboarding directory, at some point, I'm going to remove free because I see the value in what it offers. If you only had 10 signups or 50 signups and you've been like working a year, if you feel like it has the value to cut that out, then do it. But if it's not performing for you, and again, spam is something different. So try the reCAPTCHA. If that doesn't work, maybe try $1. And I hate again to go off the freemium model, but $1 unlimited. That would definitely prevent fake signups. Again, at first I try reCAPTCHA, then $1 for unlimited free with free stuff. But I feel like that kind of excludes the freemium model. And if that didn't work, yeah, I don't really get a bunch of free, I don't know. reCAPTCHA will be your friend on that. And I think with Listing Pro, it's as easy as going to reCAPTCHA. Don't enable it for everything, trust me. But like on signups, I think that they have an individual tab there. I'm just so like, I don't use it often. I think you can just do it for listings or signups or registration, right? Wait, actually, I think registration breaks the site, so double check it.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're not $1, you know, $1 is better than me. Just like if I go to your site now and, you know, again, not your site, let's just say a site, and I don't know if there's value to it, I would definitely like to test it out. And again, not just off my model, I see a lot of success with that. Like just a lot of, you know, even with the Dragon's Den, again, I wish I could, that video was priceless just because they talk nonstop about, I'm just going to search it, but nonstop about what she was messing up on or what they felt like she was messing up on. First link is the directory group. Second link for anybody that wants to see it. Dragon's Den is kind of like the Shark Tank here in the United States. And I'll post that link too, but you got to be part of the group. So it's a double whammy. They made really good sense. And again, if you're watching that video, keep in mind, you always have a web developer. So if you go on TV, I'll give you the disclaimer right now. If you guys are on TV, tell them you got somebody working on the website. I will work on your website if you make it to TV. So you always got somebody in your corner. She was like, no web developer. We just kind of strapped this thing together. And I was just like, oh my God, you're messing up. Like, but yeah, you always have, whether it's geodirectory support, you got somebody in your background, right? Hire a developer the next day, do whatever you need to do. But if you, I heard she's actually doing really well. I haven't checked out the site again, but this is a Listing Pro theme. And again, she went in front of investors and I feel like she just kind of botched it. She has a great idea, but I think their big thing was what stops Yelp from doing that, like just putting dog friendly. And yeah, it's not the same because I don't want to go to Yelp and do dog friendly. If I lived in the UK or wherever she was at, and I was like, hey, I just want to look at a dog friendly place. Yeah, I think that part was wrong, but again, who knows? I don't have millions of dollars to invest in companies, so they're probably right. We got a hand up from Lula. Let's do it. What do you got? I don't know what just, oh, there it is. Lula, you with us? We can't hear you. You got to unmute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can share my website. Can I just share or like tell you the domain and then you can open it?
Yeah. If you'll text the domain, just so we don't get stuck in a roundabout. So if you share the thing to the group, I'll post it up. Okay. Right. Otherwise, we got everybody showing porn sites. Who knows?
Oops.
Wait, oops, like that's what you do? Yeah, just post the link. How embarrassing. All right, yeah, let's pull it up. So what do you before we take a look, are we looking at?
It's the site I'm working on. It's not completely finished yet. I haven't
Okay.
changed everything. I have some like little questions here. You can see like above the search, the icon is missing for whatever reason. I don't even know why. It was there, but once WordPress was updated.
Where do you mean? Where am I looking?
Where it says search, connect, and review, right?
Search, connect.
Oh, down below where it says search, connect, and review.
Oh,
Yeah, like right
okay.
above it, the icon is missing for some reason.
Is this an Elementor Pro, this little section here?
No,
What, WP Bakery?
it's Elementor, but I don't have the Pro version.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'd go in there and switch it to something different. Just switch it to something different and see if it shows up.
I tried, but for whatever reason, it's not coming up. So that's one little question I couldn't figure out.
Yeah, the next one, just because I don't have access and I don't want to like, again, if it doesn't work, contact me, we'll work it out together.
Okay.
But another solution, and I hate doing this, but I heard that the font awesome was outdated on Listing Pro. So in a sense where icons don't show up on a site, and again, it's not my first choice. My first choice is try to find the problem, but I would download the plugin Font Awesome Icons or Font Awesome and just see if it automatically showed up. And then maybe I'd even try to delete it because I'm not really big on plugins.
Okay.
I would definitely try that. Anytime a user's plugins or icons just don't show up from Font Awesome.
Okay.
That way you've got the latest copy. And again, I think I heard something about that, but try it out and let us know.
Okay, that actually makes sense.
Do you have contact as well? I mean, so you've probably seen me in the groups. You can always contact me directly because I'd like to see if it worked or didn't.
Okay, good. I haven't started uploading all the listings I have, but I'm kind of working in the background for now. You can see if you scroll down just a little to where it says top here. So paying members can book. Booking is available only for paying members, and not paying members, they have other features, not booking. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do. You can see only book now for the first guy here. The second one, because they are not paying members apparently, they don't have the booking feature.
Okay.
And the booking, like I said, was special booking for tech repair businesses. So basically, my only question is that how can I market this to people, if that makes sense? Like, how can I convince them to be on the paying?
Yeah. The first thing is you have to have the traffic, right? So obviously we can tell your site's not done. If I look at this, I see Euro Collision, Sushi Kashiba, Arizona.
It's not done.
So the first thing is getting the traffic. Once you have the traffic, sorry, Jamie, I didn't mean to message that. Once you have the traffic, you literally, it's kind of your world, right? If I don't have the traffic, nobody knows about it. Nobody comes there. Even if these guys do book, right? These are paying ads, but if you got no traffic, there's no, I get absolutely nothing out of this, right? So it's like, why would I book with you if you have no visitors? Who's gonna repair with me? So first, get the traffic. Second, try to market it out like that. Approach different business owners. Once I have the traffic, so again, we'll go back to my idea here, is so if I were to approach any company and say, and I pull up my analytics and I'm like, look, man, every month I get 100,000 visitors that are looking for locations in your area. That's big. That's big. Who would not want to try that out? So the marketing has to come from you in general. I mean, it could come from SEO on your website, so you don't have to approach these people manually. But yeah, you want a valuable website, whether it's just traffic and fake listing. Well, I don't want to say fake, but whether it's listings that you've just added, right? Make your traffic grow. And then once you have that, just display some of those numbers if you can, whether you're displaying them, whether you're verbally telling them, whether I can pull it up in certain search term. The thing is, once you know what kiteboarding for you is, people will come back, right? I've actually got stickers now that I'm putting on the back of my friends' cars and they don't know. So it's pretty entertaining, but just getting the traffic first, and then you can market it however you want. There's got to be a value though. Again, if I were to, and I know you're not done, this is a perfect example. If I were to come here today and look at this website. While I love the color scheme at the top, I love the spacing, I love what's going on with this little bit of yellow and the white, would I pay money to be on this site right now? The answer is no, because I'm looking at this like Sushi Kashiba.
Yeah, I haven't finished that part yet.
No. Listen, that's why I'm using it as an example. But you can see, like, I have to find a value. Now, if I come there and I see a bunch of listings and I see, you know, the stuff that I want to see, then yeah. So finish it up and get that traffic first. And yeah, let them make that decision, whether you're hard calling, whether you're, I got a guy in Bahamas, and because it's such a small location, he's going door to door. Matter of fact, he's got people going to door, having them use a coupon code that's specific to them, and he's going to pay them a commission if they sign up on a paid version. But again, it's the Bahamas. Those guys will work, you know, half a day for free, and hopefully they make commission. It's not a poor country. It's just, you know, those are street vendors for you, you know, and some people just have the opportunity to do different marketing. Like, I don't have that opportunity. Nobody's going to go around to these kite shops other than me and be like, hey, look, this is what I want to do, unless I start an affiliate section, which is also an idea. Right. So make the site worthwhile. And I promise. So what is that? Field of Dreams? Anybody in the United States know? If you build it, they will come. I mean, it's kind of, wait, I already said they won't come. If you build it and you market it correctly, they will come. Right.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. And again, I'm really big on free marketing. I have a few videos on the channel. And again, I don't care about my self-promotion. I'm not worried about 309 views. But I have ideas for you. You know, it's monetizing and marketing. It's, you know, what can you do for style and design, which it looks like you're doing a really good job of that. Just continue and make it worthwhile. Some people use testimonials. I'll tell you a big, and this is for everybody. I start group pages. Most of you guys know me from either my own listing pro group, another listing pro group that's a little bit bigger that I manage, or my web design group, or YouTube. Right. So most of you guys know me and met me off of that, whether we've done work or whether we haven't done work. Wait, by the way, look, this is the update. Still has done absolutely nothing. Get off that server. I'm closing this down. But the fact of the matter is, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have talked off that. Where was my mind just thinking about this slow load? All right, skip that topic. Sorry. I'm getting old, I guess.
Design.
Wait, what was it? What was it?
I think you were just talking about the design, and you just finished talking about monetizing and marketing, and then you're trying to talk about some design. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, either way, I probably was getting, oh, you guys found me. So big key tip. You guys found me from a Facebook group. You know, even up until this year, I have started a Facebook page because, you know, I'm pretty good at Facebook, for every single one of my companies, right? In the past, in the future, well, not in the future, I usually start them before I launch. But you know what I just realized? A Facebook page, I have to create the content, I have to curate the content, I have to look at all the engagements. Why do I do that? If I just start a Facebook group and other people submit my content for me, so take a look at this. When I first started my Listing Pro theme group, I was the sole provider for everything. I'm not going to go back that far, but I had to provide the topics. I had to provide the answers. I had to provide. And now, I mean, you can look at some of these. I have to respond. I've got people in the group who are responding and helping other users out. People in the group who are submitting content, and great users like Stacy and Barb and Scott and anybody here who has ever contributed, like, so why am I not doing that for my Facebook or my projects? And I started thinking about that. Like, I have a Kite for You Facebook page, but why didn't I create a group? Like, it just makes so much more sense. Like, I want people to interact and build my own content instead of right now my group, my Facebook page isn't doing much, where all my other Facebook groups are killing it. So again, start that group, right? Whether it was phone repair in the United States, start something on phones, phone hacks, phone repair, phone, you know, and build that, because that's easy traffic as well. It's not an easy start, but once it gets rolling, look at this. I don't create this content anymore. I like to post things and I like to try to answer if nobody's answered, but this group is self-managed now and it just keeps growing. So hopefully that helps. It's a big tip that I never knew. I got a couple questions. How big? So Jamie asked, how big is the server capacity that I suggest? listen, when I use Cloudways, I start off in any company, I use the smallest server that can start. So Cloudways, again, I think the cheapest is $10. I would start there. On something like Cloudways, all you have to do is click one button to upgrade to the next plan. So never go, unless you have crazy money that you just don't mind throwing out. I would never grab a $140 plan. I call it grow as you go. I started off with the $10 plan, and then I upgraded to the 12. And now, Scott, what do I have on my servers? Probably about 70 sites. Now I pay $193 a month. So I mean, but I grew into that, right? And I'm not paying for all that. I actually offer hosting and everything else. So start with that small plan.
Okay.
What Sergio says, what is the high traffic magic number? I don't know that there is a magic number, man. You know, take a look at this. Overnight Coder, 1,830K subscribers. The reason I don't have a magic number for this is, if you guys know YouTube, this is not a lot of subscribers. But what happens if I told you over 3 years I've made over 300,000?
Subscribe now.
Yeah, I've made over 300,000 with this amount of subscribers. Meanwhile, people with 300,000 subscribers might not have made 100,000. So it depends on the quality that you're getting. If I run an ad on Google and I say, hey, yo, check this site out, I'm offering free iPhones, and you get there and it's kiteboarding, like, and again, this is like totally offset, but that offered no value. So even if you had 10,000 visitors because you posted an ad, like you get nothing out of that. And again, I used to work for Instagram influencers with millions of subscribers. I make a lot more than a lot of those people I dealt with because my subscribers are niche. I'm not that guy yelling subscribe now, although that probably would help because I see WP Tuts has like what 500 and he could probably make bank. But again, I have niche people following what we do. Listing Pro. Everybody in there is using Listing Pro. Directories now. Everybody here is using directories. So I get a lot of value out of a smaller number. Again, if you had 500 visitors who like to check your site 10, 20 times a day, way more busier than 500 random people who looked at your site for 2 seconds and bounced out. So again, I don't know that there's a magic number, but once you're comfortable, you'll know it. Right, you'll see those signups. You'll and if you're not getting them now, think about maybe there's something wrong. Maybe I've seen a lot of sites they didn't even realize, but their ad listing button didn't work. They came here and because they were logged in, this one works, right? It takes me to an ad listing page. What you don't realize is if you're always logged in as admin and you have that ad listing button or that ad listing link that you I've seen a lot of sites I couldn't even do anything on and they never tested anything, so do the testing. Definitely. What else we got, guys? This has been great so far. I'd like to keep it up. If we can keep the momentum, I'd like to stay for a little bit. If not, we can. I think I haven't lost anybody. People are coming and going. Welcome, Stephen. Everybody's on mute, so if you guys are new coming, just unmute yourself, David. Mav, what do you got?
Nothing. Nothing. So I'm just trying to work on the directory, and then once I'm done with certain things, then I'll kind of have a clear idea of what doubts I have and how to present it to you clearly so that, we can work on them.
Yeah, no worries.
But as of now,
go ahead.
But as of now, there's nothing specific. Like there are a lot of things to ask, but then, I would like to go step by step so that things are a little clear for you and me. So
that sounds like a me and you conversation, right?
Yeah.
I'm definitely down. I mean, if it's an open-ended conversation that's going to help everybody out. So Matt's talking about, I actually run a directory course and we did it with Croco Blocks. Here's one of the sites that he shared in group. So I'm sharing it only because he shared in group. There's some things that needs to be fixed, but this guy came from building his own design, which Scott will tell you looks a lot like my design, but that's what we did in the course. In the course, we cover, how to build something like this, and then hopefully the users come back and kind of modify it to their likings. Just to show you guys, the course is here. It is a paid course, but again, it comes with, so this is what Mav's talking about. Mav, what was it, last week you joined?
On Friday, yes.
perfect. And Mav, I think he's gotten through a lot of this, but just to show you, we go through everything, setting up the basics, creating custom post types, asking questions. Again, there's 2 lines of code. There's this code, which I really didn't need, and then the read time, but I just go over everything. It was really hard when I was getting into something like Barb said, she's doing geo directories. Nothing really told me from start to finish. There was great tutorials out there for every bit and piece, but nothing ever told me how to put it all together. And that's kind of what I created here. So you'll see these videos go, they go on. It includes everything that you would need for the build. And then also, like Mav will tell you, I think we've only talked a few times in chat, but I'm willing to get on one-on-one with anybody who takes the course. Or any matter of fact, even if you don't take the course, hit me up on Facebook, hit me up in the email that I didn't put it to everybody. But I'm always willing to help, right? It's about, again, growing as a whole.
And also, just in case if if you have never worked on Elementor, this is a good course to learn Elementor as well, as in you will get a lot of doubts cleared, and you will know how to start with Elementor and everything. So just for a layman like me, it was pretty easy to just get on Elementor and create a website.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think so. The idea was a little bit of everything, right? How I style and design a site, how I look at different aesthetics. And again, I implore these guys to, when he's done with following the course, take a look at it, come back and redefine it in your own style. But it's really easy to follow. This guy's now working on a second directory. And again, I don't know that he had Elementor capabilities before this, but it teaches you a little bit about everything. And keep in mind, we built the header, we built the footer. Actually, I didn't build that. Let me go back to my site so I can show you. What I did was I built everything on my site using the course. And I think at some point I started skipping duplicate stuff so I wasn't boring these guys. But my pricing plan page looks like pricing plan page looks like this. Which is just Elementor. I did use Elementor Pro on this, which we provided in the course for everybody. But just getting your custom plans and the styling, I'd like to share a better one with you. I really like this one. Give me just a second. I'm gonna pull it up on I really like this one just because it's the same thing. I just really like her colors. And then we went from her colors and we put a switcher at the top. But check this one out. Some of you guys have probably seen it because I think I posted it in Listing Pro, but 1 second, I promise it's coming up. Yeah, here we go. List your business. So this one, I mean, just really like the color scheme. And of course, there's going to be a lot more information on the top as well as the bottom. But the only difference, you can tell same styling. The only difference was, the switcher that just kind of threw it off and made it look a little bit better. And again, Elementor Pro will do this on Listing Pro. The only deal breaker is you can't throw a button in there. So the trick is, what is the site that, wait, we were just on one. So the trick is you grab this button here, and again, I don't expect you guys to remember this. You inspect it and just grab the form. So I'm just gonna edit that HTML. I've grabbed this whole code here for just this plan, and I throw it right into my my template. So this would be for the free, actually, what was that? Yeah, this is for the free plan, and I would just throw it in there, right? So instead of having this button, I would paste that code, and that would be her free business plan. And that would not, I mean, hers look good, but that's how it's super easy to. The only bad thing is this is just visual, right? These I typed in manually. It's visual with a working button. So if you were to change something on the back end of Listing Pro, like you said, hey, no, I don't want it to have, what are some things Listing Pro does? I don't want it to have the lead form. You would technically have to remove it from here and remove it from the back end. So again, keep in mind, this is just a visual with a working, well, this is a custom site, but if I did it with Listing Pro, this would just be the custom button. So we've done quite a few like that. So, and I literally, even if you don't want to pay for a paid course because you're not going custom, I can definitely work with you, whether it's 1 hour or something, and we can craft up a special pricing plan page for you, or at least get it started and let you fill it out. But again, go ahead.
Could I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
with GeoDirectory, I don't think that we can get that granular in terms of what each package can, like, I think there's maybe on the number of images, but I don't think that there's the ability to get that granular in terms of the number of benefits on your page per package.
You know, maybe not, because Scott might be able to chime in if he's still around. I know it's super late there, but you're right. I don't know what you can set up per individual. And again, I've used it for Listing Pro just for styling reasons.
Yeah.
And then for custom, of course, well, I hate to talk about that because we can actually do whatever we want, right? I can include whatever I want. And matter of fact, with Listing Pro, they have the fake form fields too, right? Or not fake form fields, but you can offer something even if you have to do it manually. Like, how about show up at the top of the search with Listing Pro? We can't automatically do that without custom code. But if somebody pays me $99.75 for 30 days, I could go in there and create a manual listing, you know, and that would be just an additional form field down here, or not a manual listing, but a manual ad. I've got a good one that this guy actually, I think his site was, I don't think that he's actively using this, but this is a Listing Pro website. And I know you're talking about GeoDirectories, but he has custom plans, right? And sometimes they are broken. But this is a Listing Pro site that I think he faded out of. Doesn't look like Listing Pro until you start noticing some of the similarities. But let's see his pricing plan or his getting started. No, it's not getting started, sorry. So, feature overview. No, let's go to add a listing. So here, yeah, his pricing plan is still broke. So simple solution, he just hasn't fixed. So I can't show you there, but again, he's just added additional stuff using a page builder. But what happens if you were to click on this? Listing Pro doesn't handle this, right? And then it just goes into something that he's manually or put in a plugin or something to load up. So keep that in mind. You can still offer some things, but you're right. It might not, I'm not sure how granular GeoDirectory is for specific base plans.
Yeah, okay.
But we're here when you want to go custom.
Yep.
Let me stop. I promise I'm not trying to sell anybody anything today.
I have another question. I'm thinking that I read recently that WordPress was going to get rid of the classic editor in a year, maybe. Does anyone have knowledge of that?
I don't have knowledge on that, but you're probably right. I notice now they're starting to do Gutenberg everything, and I hate it. The crazy thing is even when they did the widgets, so appearance widgets like that, I noticed that the classic widgets within like the first 2 months had like 1 million downloads, so nobody really likes what they've done. I hope they don't. I don't know. I think that they'll probably do legacy for a while and kind of make them coexist unless they get a bunch of people. And then again, you'll have those plugins. You're definitely getting muted. Yeah. Thanks for that, buddy.
Might have read 2023.
Yeah.
Legacy was going to be going away. The classic.
Now here's the thing. So I use Elementor. So it's like on every project I use Elementor Pro. So I don't know how I don't think that will affect me, but it will affect a lot of people, right? And I think you're right. Will we have to upgrade it? Right now, what about PHP 8.0? I haven't tried it on any of my sites or client sites, but I heard that, and again, I haven't tested it, but I heard that it was going to be such a drastic change that none of the themes are going to be capable of handling it. So at some point, Barb, listen, you're at an age that you probably know, at some point, we're going to have to do VR to tap into all these websites. So things will move along forward, right? And we have to grow with it. I don't like every change, but yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, at this point, I just want something stable. You know, it's that minimum viable product stage. It's like, just get it, just do it, get it on there, get people going to the site, etc. So.
Yeah, I actually don't see any granular changes here. I'm just on one of their demos, and I don't see, like, I didn't select the plan. I didn't And this is just one of the demos, but I just don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Why is it some of this hidden? No problem. If anybody needs to jump off, we appreciate it. The end of this video will be hosted. We're probably not sticking around for too longer, but I'd love, any follow-up questions. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Again, I'm not leaving, but we have a few people jumping out. So
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for organizing this.
no worries.
Thank you
Again,
for everything.
Have a good one.
we just killed the whole group. Everybody's leaving. I'm sticking around for at least 10, 15, 20 more minutes if anybody has personal questions, but if not, I understand people have to go.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody who stuck around? Now's your shot. If not, we might be leaving early. Yeah. All right.
So, I have a
Let's do it.
I have a question, small question. So when we will be, so I also have some questions regarding automated entries in the listings, as in, getting the data and then populating the data in the listings. So that is something which I need to work on. So I will ask you when we do one-on-one.
Sure. I'll give you a head start.
Yeah.
One of these, let me see. Make money with your new business, basic questions. I want to say it's this one, but hey, so this one here, it says listening to, it was 2 years ago, 8.8 views. I'll link you to this, but the last part of this video is how to import listings. And I know it may be in Listing Pro, but this is going to be the same method you use on your custom design. The program is called WP All Import. I've linked it to chat, but that one starts at 583 seconds, which might be correct, but it might just get an idea of how it works. So what happens is you get your list, whether it's from Fiverr or whatever the case may be, and it will come in a CSV format. The video shows you how you can map that to all of your fields and kind of get a good idea on, once you have a list of your listings, importing is super easy. And it's super easy. And it's just as simple as, again, watch the video just so you've seen it once, and I'll help you one-on-one. Again, you're part of the course. We can do one together once you have a list, or I can show you how to get a list. I don't have Scrapestorm or BotSol on my computer anymore, so I would be showing you a tutorial on that, but I learned how to use those in about 30 minutes off a YouTube tutorial if you didn't want to waste any money. Again, Fiverr, $5, get you started with 1,000 listings just so you can see how things work. Super easy. In fact, I think I spent $25 with this guy and got 9,000. So I've done repeat business with him, and if the page would load, I'd show you. But yeah, he just proved I'm comfortable with his work, but I had to test a few guys at $5. Once I found a guy, I use him on everything. Like, I just don't want to waste my time but again, free programs and a YouTube tutorial are out there.
Okay. I'll do the homework.
No. Again, I can point you in the right direction. I've already been there, and that video will help. Anybody else? Well, while we're still here, if not, Matt probably has some more questions. I got the hiccups.
Tim, it's Rosemary. Just wondering, your kiteboarding one is quite a, you've niched right down. Do you think that's better, or when I look on the web, there's so many general sort of like business directories that cover everything. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it depends on the niche and what you're trying to do. I'll give you a perfect example. This site, when I'm done, there will be nothing like it. This is going to be the go-to kite for kiteboarders, whether it's riding locations. I'm not focused on shops and schools, but that is how I'll make my money with advertising on the sites, as well as you'll see adventures and trips. This is the trip coming on May 21st that I posted. It's just going to help me sell my own stuff, as well as, so it's going to be the #1 go-to site. I'm sure of it for kiteboarding. That's a specific niche. I do see some guys that try to compete with Yelp and like a wedding site. I'm really cool with weddings, but I don't know that I could start one for all the United States. I'm not trying to beat Wedding Wire. I'm not trying to beat Knot. Even if I took like 2% of that, I would be happy. But I think that you can't compete with Yellow Pages, Yelp, Google on something not niche down. Now there are some variations of that. What Barb says she's doing Oregon. I think that's a great idea. If there was a site for all of Florida, things to do with my family, that would be great, or my non-existent family now. But that would have been super cool because you'll get all the Florida traffic, you'll get the travel and tourism. How about Bahamas? You know, we did the Easy Find, super. I think that's a great idea. He does a little bit of everything, but it's niche to a smaller location, and I think that's you know, as you can see here, he's got for travel and tourists. He's got the locals directory with like home improvement. So this is going to be a great site for locals and for travel. Once it's known, again, he has to get that. But again, you know, you're right. I see people trying to, and I did worldwide, you know, but it didn't start worldwide. I knew it was going to be a worldwide directory, but I started off, and I called it a worldwide directory, but I started off with only Florida listings because I was putting them in manually. And I got the Florida traffic. And then I went up the whole East Coast of the United States because it seemed like it was all relative. Like, you know, we all kite on water. It's got a mainly ocean, but Colorado just had weird lakes. So I started up the East Coast on coastal waters. And then all of a sudden summer came along and I was like, okay, let me list all the places that are warm. And then at some point I had just imported the 6,000 and was like, oh, this is what I needed. But start and grow outwards. You got a wedding guy. I won't tell you his location just in case, but he's starting small in two small, not small areas, but 2 states. And I think that could be promising. At some point, could he expand that outwards to like a central region or an East Coast region or I think, yeah, I would love to do some third, like Bahamas directory. The SEO on that would be super easy if this guy hired. Unfortunately, he has 6 other businesses. Some of them are brick and mortar, so he doesn't have the time where I could kill the Bahamas with a Bahamas directory, you know, on everything, every little. But I would have different sections. Again, travel and tourism, you know, so country air service. So you're a niche directory. It could definitely, I think that you have something going on, the traffic, so first off, the clientele that you're looking for is a higher paying clientele in my eyes, because I know my pilot friends make a lot of money. But I have to find the value, and I don't know your niche enough to talk about it, but I think it is niched enough to find those airports that we just don't know about, right? I mean, it obviously wouldn't be for work because their work's providing them with like, hey, this is where you're landing. But for people with private planes, a lot of them don't know that. I've got people who built their own private plane, which sounds crazy, but he doesn't know all the airstrips. You know, I'm sure he has a site where he could find them, but that directory would definitely be beneficial for that type of people. And I think it's very niche, right?
And that's what we've really aimed for, is the recreational pilots more than, you know, not airline pilots, but the recreational pilots. And yeah, it seems to be working well because there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, and see, that's where your traffic won't be, it's not for everybody, right? So if I were to say that is for Scott, who is probably sleeping but still in chat, it's not for Scott. Scott doesn't, well, to my knowledge, Scott doesn't fly airplanes. So he will get no value out. You've got a small niche, but your niche is kind of like my YouTube channel. That niche could be very profitable. You know, once it's something, it's profitable. But I got people doing barbers around the world, and I'm just like, dude, you know, back in the day, a male barber cut was $9-10. It's like, how much can you charge? How many do you have in my location? I'm in Cocoa, Florida, which is right outside of Orlando. None. Okay, then I look 2 cities over, none. I don't get a benefit out of that. Like, I don't see how it could be profitable unless you had 1 million listings. But I just don't. I hate to tell a client that. Like, I will tell them, but another one is I do like there was a time when, you know, everybody was hating like, oh, there was all this black owned and black. I'm mixed, so before anybody takes it the wrong way, I'm mixed. My dad had a quarter black, so, or I think I'm a quarter. So I'm not prejudiced, but I would get a lot of people doing, I don't want to say a site, let's just call it blackyellowpages.com. And I didn't find there was a time when people wanted to support other Black-owned businesses, but I'll be honest with you, and I use this a lot, like if somebody comes to fix my AC, look, I don't care what color you are, like I just don't care. Like, but now there are some that really make sense to me. So I see in Greece Empire, which is something where she wanted to support things like Greek food, Greek, and I could see how if I came from Greek and I just went to a Lebanese restaurant and I don't know anything about that. I really don't even eat Lebanese food. But if I was Lebanese, I would definitely want to support, and I would definitely be looking for that like original Lebanese food, not like, you know, American Lebanese where, you know, some mom and pop just started, but that definitely makes sense for me. But there are some things that just, they didn't even make sense. Like, and then you're trying to compete with a global market that nowadays Yelp has that, what LGBTQ, I can click that for weddings. I can click Black owned for, it's like, so I don't know if we missed the market for some of those. But I think that there was a time it was probably awesome. I can't see it. That doesn't mean it's not going to work. I can't see it.
What I have noticed though is some of the huge directories are horribly out of date. You know, there's businesses that don't exist. There's all sorts of things. And I think it's just they're too big. They're too big for anybody to look after, unless you've got, you know, a huge team.
That's right. And I mean, listen, if your site blew up and you were making, let's just say you're making 100,000 every month, you're going to hire that huge team, right? Yeah. But there are some people that don't grow as they go. Yellow Pages is probably highly staffed, right? But I find a lot of things like TripAdvisor, I find some things that just aren't really related. I find something as a web designer, I'm like, you could have done a lot better job. But some people, you're right. Some people just get so content with what they're doing. Their marketing is something 100% different, and you never really know what their focus is. But you're right. I've seen a lot of, not this big of a directory, but I've seen a lot of other smaller directories that are doing well that never take it a step forward. I think there was another directory in the Bahamas, and while their SEO was way better than what the Bahamas locals, here it is, I just found so many things that were like, this is outdated. Like, this is so outdated. Like while they do something over here and they could be doing so much better for a #1 Google spot, right? But of course, nobody moves forward, and we don't know why. Are they making money? Have they just bombarded it with ads? Have they? I don't. You know, there's no telling. But look, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Like this looks horrible compared to what we have today. You know, for a directory that pops up. Matter of fact, there's so many ads on this page, it's ridiculous. These things don't even make sense to me.
No.
Oh, sorry, it's the movie group. They make sense now. Sorry. This one does not, but that's fine. You know, it supports whatever it supports. But yeah, you're right. So spend time, you know what you got. And I'm not saying invest another year into, you know, yeah, definitely invest another year, but grow with where you need to be at. And as you need to grow, like if I needed a whole team for kiteboarding for you, but you better believe if I'm making that type of money, I'll hire the team. You know, yes. So, but yeah, until I'm there, I start off with what I got. Anthony, welcome. You are 2 hours late, my friend, but better late than never. We can't hear you. You're probably muted. Yeah, it's muted. You got to unmute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was the kids, man, trying to get them to stop fighting. So
that's all right, man. We recorded it. We're glad you came late. We're just finishing up with some final questions, but glad you could kind of stroll in.
Yeah, I'll definitely catch the replay. But you know, again, hopefully you do this another time, and I'll you know, have a better scheduled time.
Yeah, you've got some good insight, man. It would have been great to have you. So for you guys, Anthony actually does CrocoBlock stuff as well. And I feel like, because I just do directories, I do the same stuff over and over. But every time I talk to Anthony, he's got something new going on. So I know that his experience is probably, I feel like he's way over superseded because I'm set in like directory this, directory that. But again, every time I talk to him, it's something new. It's profile this, it's product that. So it's really cool to see just the development with everybody and what they have going on. Today's talk, man, we just talked a little bit about, you know, methods and where people are going. a lot of just questions and answers. I would like to get back into doing these, weekly or bi-weekly. Just the commitment was weird, right? The last webinars we were doing every Saturday, and people just expected it. And then, there came a time I wanted to go to the beach, and I was like, well, shit, I gotta. So I don't think I'm gonna plan these. I think we're just gonna throw them up a week prior and be like, look, this is what we're doing.
I totally understand. I totally get it.
Rosemary, thanks for coming. I see you're bowing out. I'm taking off here soon. I'm gonna stick around for about 10 minutes, and then thanks again.
Thank you.
No problem. Rosemary, stick with what you got. I will tell you, it's a good niche. I know you were working on a secondary niche as well. SEO on directories is huge. Like, you can get so much extra SEO value, even off Listing Pro, right? The basic theme with no Permalink Manager Pro, there's just so much higher authority with directories. So whether you're using it for personal gain or you're using it for the directory, like, I definitely see value. And a lot of it will come with the advertisement. Again, free advertisement nowadays is my key, but Facebook groups, any pilot or personal airplane, or what are those build it yourself I'd even jump into those groups. Whatever that build it yourself plane that two of my friends have done, those would be the groups that I want to target. I don't need to target FedEx personal highlight flights. That's not who you're targeting. So get in them, and again, you don't have to be the site owner. It's like, I found this. What do you guys think of this? Is this updated? Is this good value? Does anybody know where I can fly here? And that's kind of how I get my traffic. It's easy.
Okay. Great idea.
Thanks again.
Okay, thank you.
Stefan, thanks for joining late. Overnight Coder will write.
So it's not just me.
No, we had 12 at some point, and then I think people left and came, so we still had 12. And then I think probably about 15 minutes ago, I mentioned, hey, if anybody had to bail out, I'm like, we lost half the group. But no, I mean, that's probably for the best. We slimmed down the important ones. I'm just kidding. They're going to watch the video and be like, I'm not important. I'm just kidding.
So just a quick question. Your group comprises of people from Listing Group Pro and people kind of, using Crockerbox tools as well. Is that right?
You know what? Let me reframe this. So we started off with Listing Pro theme, and I only started this group because I was in 3 Listing Pro groups, so I couldn't post what I wanted. Matter of fact, developers had built plugins, and at the time the group was like, "Oh, we don't support that. You can't advertise your own." I was like, "Dude, these guys are building awesome tools for Listing Pro. Support that shit." Right. Now, of course, I started my own group, and I allow other developers to do their thing. It's not about sales and support. It's about helping the group, whether it's free or whether they want to get paid. It's the community choice. But I started this group, and instantly the other groups kind of followed. So Listing Pro theme is my group. That's only Listing Pro. I manage, because the team had all my videos and their tutorials anyway, I manage the Listing Pro original group, which is, I'm getting to the good part, I promise, which is Listing Pro user group, which has the most amount of members. Again, I get the opportunity to moderate it, which is super cool, not on this account, but on my personal. That way I can kind of help out, but again, I don't work for that. So what I thought was, I would get people in the Listing Pro theme and they're like, oh, Listing Pro sucks. I'm like, well, first off, you're in the wrong group, no big deal, but let's hear it. And then I would get other people saying, oh, Geodirectory is better. And that's when I started this group. So this group was, we all fall under the same umbrella. So it's directory websites, development, management ideas. And I probably could have came out, because I guess it's a directory, but I don't care if you're selling cars, you're selling listings, you're selling products. This brings everybody together. And that's what it's not as big, which is sad, but my YouTube channel is kind of funneling in some. But this is the idea. I want everybody here, right? Because this covers you. This covers my listing. This covers Listing Pro. This covers people like Barb with Geodirectory. We're all here for the same reason, So I'm hoping that this is Geodirectory and Divi. What do you think? Right? Brian Hearney just started his own platform, and it's called Design Studio and Listaway or whatever. But yeah, we're all here for the same reason. If people have or can chime in, that's what I really like. Right?
That was our origin story, Tim.
Yeah. It's just it's a home of directory based people, whether it's, and it doesn't have to be coding, right? It doesn't have to be, hey, I'm stuck with Listing Pro, what do I do? It's more, and while a lot of these people are Listing Pro users that have migrated over, a lot of them, some of them aren't, you know, and again, you would fit great here where you're not going to fit in our Listing Pro group because you don't use Listing Pro. Make sense? You're muted again. I don't know what's going on. I can't hear you.
So, sorry, I had my mic muted. I was coughing a moment ago. But yeah, I totally understand. That makes complete sense. So yeah, I'm just curious. I don't know if you have a poll running, kind of get an idea of like who's running what. You know, maybe that kind of like I'm just curious to see.
That was like the first question I posted on the group. It's in there.
Yeah, and it keeps getting brought back up, doesn't it, Scott?
You should make it sticky. Is it possible?
Certainly does. There it is, right there.
Let's
Yeah,
do that. Like, let's
pin it. There you go.
That way we can, yeah, we've seen a bunch of, and again, we're not biased here. Like, I don't care what anybody's using, but originally 40 weeks ago, Scott was using GeoDirectory. We got to see a little bit of feedback. So a poll would be even better.
That's what I was gonna say.
You don't have to read through 50 comments,
Yeah.
but I think we might take this, pin this, and then do a poll as well. That way we can just get a good feel on how we can help our users better.
I agree. Completely agree.
Really, the idea is to push them on a Kroger block, but they don't realize how good it is yet. Like me and you.
Oh my God. The one thing though, the one thing I will say, Tim, is that
Crock-a-Block rocks.
it definitely does. I just can't wait till they drop the if they do and when they do the geolocation or the geo targeting. You know, where you can just enter zip code.
Please.
You know what I mean?
Don't bring it up, man. That's so sour. I don't know why that hasn't been. And then one guy created one, but like I heard it doesn't work from like everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Well,
like,
listen, you want to know something interesting? I created, like, one of the things I found out with GeoDirectory is that in order to, like, if you add a map and you wanted to get directions, because when I would look for, and I do restaurant stuff, so when I would want to look for a restaurant, I want to get directions to that restaurant, period. You know, that was like primary thing. And it was so difficult with GeoDirectory. And then me and my other business partner I work with, we figured out, we actually made in Crock-a-Block, what we did was we got the maps listing to work so that we have a dynamic link added to the listing, to the map listing, so that when they click the location on the map, it brings up the little bubble window, right? The little pop-up on the map, and there's a little get directions thing now. And so the get directions is based on either the Google Place ID, and we figured that out. And then it's either, if the Google Place ID does not exist for that listing, then it falls back to using Latin long. So
Yeah,
I was able to figure out how to create two dynamic links and set up a conditional display in Crock-a-Block. And it just shows you just how feature rich like Crock-a-Block is to do something like that. And if anybody wants that, let me know and I'll hook you up with how to do it. So
I definitely might ping you on that in the future, Scott. Thank you for that.
Sure. Just shoot me a DM or whatever on the group.
There's so much custom builds that just makes it amazing, right? Not being limited has helped out a lot. And again, I wish I had free time, right? With all the directories we're building, it's like, I wish I had free time just to learn all the bits and pieces I don't know, because there are still tools that I'm looking at like, okay, I could probably use that. I just don't know how it functions. And that's how flexible it is. So, and then I think something me and Anthony figured out was, there's definitely more than one ways to do almost everything, which makes it fun. Like, he'll think one thing or I'll think one thing, and all of a sudden we've got a whole different method that could definitely work and might be easier. It might not be, who knows if it's the way it was supposed to be. But that's the cool part about it. And again, it's just been so much fun learning.
Yeah. And I do got a question, and this applies to anyone and everyone in the group, but as I'm creating a different type of listing directory, right? I find myself, yes, I can make a front-end submission form and let the users create an account and do all that, but I'm looking for a way to tie it into a spreadsheet that I can automatically import all the data from the columns and just in one go. Like I can hire someone like on Fiverr to gather that data and then just immediately make a a mass directory within like minutes. You know what I mean? Like just importing that CSV automatically creates those listing items or those listing directory.
You're not talking about WP all import anymore, are you?
No, not necessarily, because I know you can do something with that, but you obviously have to map the fields right to that custom post type that you create. And I'm not sure WP all import can do that.
Well, you definitely can map the fields, and if you keep them the thing, and this is probably not what you're looking for, but like I would, like if I was using somebody different, I can't do it. But if I have one master list and I map the fields once and save it as a template, I never have to map them again. My problem is they don't all come from the same person. I don't have a master list. I have one day it's called column 1, the next day it's called title. So it's like, yeah, it gets a little weird, but if you have them the same, I save that as a template and reuse that template. So I do have to load that list in, but then I just load the template. And if they're all the same field names, that works. Again, you're probably, knowing you're probably going a bit further than that, but.
Yeah. And then sometimes certain data points, the person may not have all the information. And so that may have to come from like the owner or the business that if you're trying to list them. And so, and one thing I think I wish Crackleblock also had was claim this item, claim this listing. I don't know if you ever managed to do that.
You built it. We build that, man. So let me show you. I showed the group earlier. So I'll give you a basic rundown. And again, your whole idea will be your whole idea, but build it from scratch. I'll give you a real quick rundown. So the first thing is I have in the back end for providers, I'm gonna open this up and oh shit, no, I'm not. Yeah, I am. I have a button simple in the back end. And of course you could do this through a form, you could do it. Mine right now is manual, and I'll just show you the provider just so you can see. So I have something back there that dictates if it's claimed or not. And mine happens to be a switcher, right? So hold on, what is going on? So it shouldn't be at the bottom, but it is. So it's claimed, right? Claimed is on or off, but this could be a taxonomy. This could be, it could be whatever you want, a 0 or a 1. Now, the way I did it was, if it's claimed, then I'm dynamically hiding 2 fields. I have one field here that says, hey, if it's marked claimed, then you see this. If it's not marked claimed, you get another field, which, what do we say, Bacon Donna? Bacon Donna or Tiffany? I think it's Bacon Donna. No, it's Tiffany, isn't it? Yeah, hold on. Sorry, we did this earlier. I did the same exact thing. If it's not claimed, you've got to claim this profile, right? So that's just two dynamic fields. But then what happens here, that's up to you. Right now, this guy isn't charging anything for any account, so he just needs a contact form. Bam, this goes through to him. At the bottom of the form, if you wanted to automate it, you could be like a hidden field switcher set to claim, right? Or field is set to 1.
That's a conditional display, right, Tim?
Yeah, some part of the conditional, for the first part, that was Elementor or dynamic visibility. For the second part, like for the form, that's just a hidden field in here that says, yeah, they've claimed it. But I like to approve them. So I would do a form, and then I'd like to manually say, hey, no, you have been claimed. But again, if you wanted to automate that process, hidden field right below all this that says, hey, switcher set to claimed, right? So as soon as they fill this out, they're automatically a claimed listing. So that was super easy. Now my workflow, as we talked about earlier, would be different. Mine, at some point, I ask for some information. You go over to a payment page, you pick a payment plan, and if you pay that, you're automatically claimed, right? If you pay me $19.99, I'm assuming you own the business, or I could do it manually as well. So super easy, which is 2 dynamic, matter of fact, let's edit. 2 dynamic hidden fields, right? One happened to be a pop-up, and then you can take it as far as you want. Is that kind of, if you're thinking about it that way, and again, we can one-on-one it, but there were so many ideas here. Again, this guy was so basic. It was like,
yeah, that's a very simplistic, definitely easier way. And I think the easier the better, right? So if that's conditionally displayed, versus claim this profile, that works. Actually, that's I didn't even think of it like that. And I was like, holy shit, that's simplistic, for what you think would be a complex problem, but it's actually not. Because I've seen other companies do it, other listing directories, but slightly different. But yeah, that totally works. You know, if it works, then yeah.
See, the cool thing again about CroquetBlocks and this solution is, again, you can do whatever you want it to do, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the layout. It's not a plugin that I just drug something over here and it was like, hey, do this or do that. Again, I have the flexibility to make this a pop-up, or it could have went to a claim page. I did the pop-up just because it was, so again, another easy method. You know, if I go over to a page, the page, when you fill it out in Elementor, it doesn't have the referral URL. Like it would just say, hey, this is the claim page in my Elementor lead form. But making it, and I know you could do like a dynamic URL. So yes, this came from Dr. Timothy Freund. You could put that in the URL and now that, but to skip all that, I was like, oh, pop-up would be easy. Because that pop-up form that you just seen is going to tell you it came off this page, Dr. Timothy Freund. I was like, oh, that's one less step. I don't need the dynamic URL. Like, you know?
Yeah, totally. So how do you verify though that it was Dr. Timothy filling out the form?
So there's
not
no
someone else.
How do you verify? Tell me in physical terms, how do you verify that I own the listing on your website?
That's true. Well, this is one way I was going to say was, I don't know, maybe a picture of themselves and their ID, perhaps. They have to hold it up.
Ask them for that. So that's and everybody has a different method. So I didn't want to give you something specific to me, but how do you verify that I'm Dr. Timothy Freund? In building so many directories, I have found a couple easy ways, right? Show me, matter of fact, email me off overnightcoder.com, the business information that I have in here. I'm cool with any email at overnightcoder.com. I would know that that's you.
Oh, you mean email coming directly from that domain?
Yeah, of course, okay. Right? Not something mass that you would get in your spam box.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy way. What about spam bills? You get a bill in the mail. I don't even need your ID anymore. Take a picture of that. Now, anything can be Photoshopped. So let's just be honest, like anybody can fake out. But for the most part, going out to my business, taking an invoice picture or emailing you or calling you off the phone number or doing a verification call or taking a photo ID and block out all the important stuff. Anything could work. And I think it depends on your business type, on what information you want to provide for proof. Those are just some easy ones that I've thought over for the years. Like, spam mail, send me a picture. You know, what is my water company? So my wife turned off the water. You know, when I had to get it hooked up, they were like, oh, send me a copy of the lease. You know, I did stupid stuff like that. Or most companies will tell you, like what, phone and things like that will tell you, give us one of your bills, you know, for that location or home address. And we comply. So again, ask them for what you want.
So what's been the most effective in terms of, you know, the ease the ease of burden on the user to provide that detail and the validity of that detail, like of that proof of identification?
For me, it's screenshot a business mail. That's the easiest one I can do. Manual verification sucks on, like, it doesn't suck if they're paying, but like if I had to verify 50 free people, like I'd probably get a little annoyed with that.
Yeah.
Right. So like a paid verification, I'll call you, I'll do whatever I need for that $19.99 or 90, whatever the case may be. Yeah. But yeah, if I got 50 free verifications, that would suck. So trying to do something manual where you like, and I don't mean like manual on your back end, but like a photo ID. I find that for me to give you my photo ID, no offense, I find that a little bit intrusive.
Yeah.
Right. And then you tell me, well, no, you can black out the important stuff. Well, now I have to pull it, and I'm good with Photoshop, and now I have to pull it into my computer, black some things out, or use my phone, and it's a little bit harder than just showing you like a piece of mail, like which doesn't have anything that you wouldn't expect. Like it's my business address, it's the business name. I hold it up, I screenshot, right?
Yeah.
Now I want to start a kiteboarding resale shop. And unfortunately, there's so many kiteboarding scams out there. The only thing that's going to make my site better is the fact that I want to do verification with video. And I want to, not every time they sell something, but when somebody signs up, I want to jump on a call with them, and then they can sell gear unlimited. But you know, that's the verification that I want to do, because there's so many scams in this market. You can sell a $2,600 kite setup right now, and you don't know if the person's real or not. So if you had a legit site that offered legit, you know, signups, but again, I plan on taking 10% of everything sold, or 5%, or maybe I sign you up for $20, so it's worth my time.
So that segue into my next question, which is the business model in terms of pricing. So two things. One, I don't know if you saw Crocker Block's recent announcement on their JetForm builder that allows PayPal subscriptions now. Before they didn't have that feature, but they just recently rolled out with it I think within the past couple of weeks, that allows anyone who makes a payment through a form through JetForm Builder, that if you build it with JetForm Builder and you tie it into PayPal, now you can offer a subscription-based service, which is really nice. I don't know if you've seen that right now, but I was wishing they did that with Stripe as well, but unfortunately they don't have that yet.
Yeah, they say they're working on that. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that gets me to my next question, which is, how do you take a percentage of the sale that if someone, like you said, like the skateboarding or any type of product that they sell, that you get revenue sharing, meaning, hey, I won't charge you a subscription fee, but I'll charge you per item you sell.
Yeah, currently I've only done it a few times, and not with ProgoBlocks per se, but custom works, and it's unfortunately I've used the plugin. Anything from, and I know there's lighter weight, but at the time we were using WooCommerce anyway, so it was called split payments, and that kept it cool, because if somebody got refunded, I wouldn't have to refund, like, because you could use, and again, we're talking plugin wise, I'm sure you can build your own system, but something like Docan, I really didn't like
Me neither.
because you get $500, then you send $490 to the seller. But then what happens when it's refunded? Like, you know, if you had a problem, you're kind of at stake there. And I didn't like that. Split payments allowed me to only take that percentage, right? So I'm only getting 10%. If something ever goes wrong, hell, you refund the 10%. I nick the guy on his next transaction or do something, but you know, or boot him. But at least I can't lose full subscription.
So when you say split payment, is that like a deposit, or is that more so like actual split payment? They would pay the first payment and then the second payment?
No, it gets done automatically. So let's just say on the checkout, like for the WooCommerce split payments, if you look into it, the user only sees that they're paying $90. What happens in the back end is you would get your commission sent to your PayPal, they would get their commission sent to PayPal. And again, that was a PayPal type deal with, and some of my clients are like, hey, can we do that with Stripe? There might be a plugin, but I think that becomes a little bit harder, because normally Stripe needs AppI, right? You need your AppI, you would need their AppI, and every other customer. So I know with PayPal, it's easy, right? They take $90 and they put it here and then do this with the other. So it's, yeah, I don't know exactly how it works, but it's much easier that way. And then again, the other method is, well, just charge them, right? If you're selling a product between this and this, I'm charging you $10. And that's when you list the product. So, I mean, I guess you could do on sale too, but.
Got it. And it's split orders or split payments? I just want to make sure, because there was a couple of them out there.
I have to bail. Just want to let you know.
Hey, listen, thanks for coming, man. I'm bailing right behind you. Don't worry. Listen, you have a great one. I know you stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning to do this.
Yeah. Anthony, nice meeting you. I added you as a friend on there on Facebook there.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll be sure to accept that request in a moment.
I think it's this one.
Talk
No,
about
maybe
later.
All right, Scott.
But definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so it's made by Angel Eye?
No, you know what? I don't even remember Angel Eye. I just clicked
I was
on
about to say, because I saw one produced by
WooCommerce.
And that's the thing. I sometimes I'm on the fence on using these third-party add-ons only because if WooCommerce provides it, I feel like they're the best source in terms of quality of code. And
you're right. I would have never, I just clicked on the first one. I would have never bought that plugin. You're right. I want to say, and that's why I look for WooCommerce. I want to say it's something like this, but I have to double check and read it. But it's definitely, I've seen it on the WooCommerce website, and that's where I would definitely get it.
Okay. Now, you said you use this on one of your other directory listing sites?
No, not for directory listings. I actually used it for a product selling website for a client probably about 2-3 years ago, or something similar.
Okay.
So I know that, and again, I don't want to put WooCommerce into a directory just for split payments, but the client was already using bloated WooCommerce anyway. Yeah. Again, there are probably, and again, I don't want to recommend a third party, but Theme Forest, or you might be able to find something for $29 unlimited use and just splits payments. And again, you would have to trust the validity of that company and check reviews, but you might be able to find something a little bit like this is, if I was just doing small, like if I was doing a donation site, like I unfortunately, I just can't put WooCommerce on a donation site just so I can have split payments. So something was easier and lightweight that only took donations and said, hey, we're going to split this into whatever, and you said the amount, I would much rather have that, you know, and that's just me. But again, this site that I was building already had WooCommerce because they had products, they had coupons, they had multiple checkouts, they had. But check it out, something similar to this. I want to say this is it. I just don't want to sit here and read it.
No, I got you. Okay. Yeah, and last question, and I promise I'll end it with this.
No, you're right.
Because I'm looking, I completely agree that WooCommerce is a bloated, you know, plugin, but because it's such a necessary evil on your website, but even though it's taxing for something as simple as to do transactions, and you know, I know Elementor and some of these other plugins that form builders offer integrations to payment providers like Stripe and PayPal. However, there's still a lacking feature. And so I saw this one thing, I think by Adam from WP Crafter, that he was releasing that's supposed to be like a alternate WooCommerce that's supposed to be much more lightweight. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yo, I think we talked about it, man. So let me pull it up. It hasn't released yet.
Yeah.
No,
he hasn't. So he's very good at like addressing the need for that gap where some people don't want to go to and use WooCommerce, but at the same time they got no choice because that's, you know, what other alternative is there in that can be trusted and it's backed by, you know, a decent development team, and that they listen to the audience and not just, you know, try to get a cash grab of a product, but they actually address a need for, you know, simplicity and things like that. So
if the internet was doing what it should be doing, which I don't know what's going on, but we actually have a post in here where I think Scott brought it up to me. I seen it in CrocoBlock or some one of the groups, and then somebody else posted it in the group, and it looks promising, right? It looks promising. I'm still looking for something that attaches payments to a CBT. But unfortunately, like right now, it's build it yourself or manual or. But yeah, it looks like it will solve a big. You're right. WooCommerce. I like WooCommerce for WooCommerce websites, right? On my website for the kiteboarding for you, I just need a Stripe button, bro. And the last thing I'm going to do is download WooCommerce for a Stripe button,
right?
Like, you know, so it was like WP Simple Pay offers a really quick solution. So does. But then I guess it depends on what you need. I think we talked about this, but Gamerpress, I needed 7-day free trials. I needed this. I needed PayPal and Stripe, and that's when, you know, some of my clients I have to get what, especially with clients around the world. Like some people are using third-party things that people just can't integrate into, but WooCommerce happen to have a plugin because they've been out for decades.
And they nickel and dime you for every single payment gateway too.
Yeah, they sure do. I'll see if I have this. What is this? This is.
It looks like it's another. See, this is what I mean.
This is Themeforce trying to sell their product.
Yeah, and I swear they just rehash the same code and alter some things and then put it up.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what they did.
Since it's GPL, they have access to the source code, and I always read the comments and look at the last time it was updated, 2020. Yeah, I don't trust it.
Nah, it's not happening, right?
Yeah,
I agree. I try to stick away from these too, man. I was just, you know, first thing you click, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's just me, you, Mav, and David, man. So if anybody else has any questions, otherwise we're gonna stop this recording and get out of here. Hit me up, man. I still got some questions on the shop that I'm stuck on.
Oh yeah, man. I've go ahead. Somebody's on.
No, please go ahead.
Oh no, I would kind of like piggyback off what you were saying, Tim. I've discovered a lot, especially with Profile Builder. You know, obviously reaching some limitations, but also finding out some alternate solutions. And I'll share that with you. And perhaps one day I'll make a video when I get the time and it's quiet in the house. And that's only at nighttime. But right now I'm trying to sleep train my kids so I can do that. Oh, there you go. I can see you now.
First time ever.
Yeah.
Hey.
There you go. The icon, the face behind the icon. But yeah, it's the profile. That's, I think, one of my biggest things is like these systems that are built need to have a very strong and clean user interface, right? Like how you interact with the customer, how they interact with your product, how they interact with their panels, their control panels, and a lot of stuff. The moment it's like something doesn't work or it just looks finicky or just put together with like chicken wire, they're gonna like doubt the quality of the product and that trust. And so that will eventually affect your brand and whether someone will continue signing up with that product and things like that. So that's why I went all in with Profile Builder, but unfortunately because it's made with it's built with Gutenberg, which I hate. It was just like I had to walk through hot cold, but I eventually got through it. But all in all, it has such a huge promise compared to all the other front end form submissions that I've used. And I think like I said, it's still got some ways to go, but by far the only one I've seen that has the flexibility. And I'm sure you've used it yourself too, right, Tim?
Yeah, so Profile Builder I hated it because of the Gutenberg thing, but it's pretty flexible, right? So we're learning. Scott's actually doing, I know he took off, but Scott actually does a lot of the back end because I style and I have no problem using them, but Scott, like, I pass it to Scott now for just the, create this form out of everything I've already built. So he'd be a really good asset to talk to. He has, I like to say I have a lot of experience with it, but I don't do it every day where Scott will take 14 of my sites and just repeat the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
But I find, I like the jet form builder. And then the jet form or the jet engine forms.
Yeah.
And then that was super easy for me to use and it just made sense. And again, I hate Gutenberg, but I'm getting more comfortable with it, right? Like columns, it messed with me. It wasn't just drag and drop. It was okay, select columns, then put things into columns.
Yeah.
And at some point I was doing things wrong. Now it's easy, but
yeah, it's a poor UX experience, definitely at that. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Somebody else had something to say. I think it was
everybody, but Mav's still here. Mav,
yeah. So I have a question. So I try to create taxonomy, like events and categories and location, right? So, for example, in Kite for You, one of the taxonomies is locations. And instead of location, I made states because I was trying to target states. And then I created another taxonomy, which was city. So I was thinking, should I create a taxonomy city, or should I just create a taxonomy state and the cities will automatically populate like under states? Or like if you go into jet engine.
Okay, so you're doing it in jet engine. Good. All right.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me, and I've done a bunch of these, was having them separate messed with me in other pieces of my design. And I'll give you a real quick, just like on mine. So I have 8 major regions, which is Africa, Asia, Caribbean, North America, South America, Central. I have the 8 major regions, and then inside of the regions, let's just say, so North America has Florida, which is one of the states in North America. And then inside of Florida, I have a bunch of cities. That's Orlando, Key Biscayne, Cocoa Beach.
Yeah.
So I ran into an issue where, this is how I like to utilize that. So I like to put them all in one location, just because then I can subset it out. Meaning, like my first set was the 8 major regions, which you'll see here, North America. But I couldn't, I guess you can find a different method. Again, there's another way to do it. But what should you expect to see in this second box? I don't want to see, in your case, United States, I don't want to see all the cities. I don't want to see 5,000 cities that aren't relative to my first search. So you would have to do some major relations or something outside of what my course had provided to get it to show up like this. Look, I only show things in North America. That's Florida, North Carolina, Oregon, and Washington. And what about inside of Florida? Inside of Florida, you would expect to see only the locations inside of Florida. Where again, if I were to go back to North Carolina, which actually I'm going to go to Oregon, which I think only has one or two, you would only see that location. And I couldn't, I mean, you can do it. Don't get me wrong when I say you couldn't, but separating them, you'd have to have some type of relation between your state and city, because just picking, let's say Florida, for example, isn't going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, these are the only ones in Florida, because there was no relation if you have two different taxonomies.
Yeah. So, yeah, but then, so as I'm making the listings, either making them manually or, importing them from a data sheet or whatever. So, well, I saw in your video that below the region, below the name, for example, below Florida, there were subcategories of the cities. So are they getting generated automatically, or are you manually creating them? Like for example, you go into North America and then you have Florida under it, and then you have a subcategory of the cities inside Florida. So are these getting generated automatically as you make the listings, or are you making these manually?
So with categories and subcategories with WordPress in general, and I'll have to double check with CrocoBlock, because on my side, I'm actually tagging it. I actually have multiple fields. So I do want to tag, I've got a search box for regions, which they can only pick out of the 8. There's no 9th region that I want to add to my website. So they get to pick out of that. The second one is definitely user generated, but in my experience in WordPress, and again, I'll have to double check, but most of the time, if you tag, so I built this like this, right? So I have North America is definitely on top. Then I have something sub inside of it. And then I have something sub inside of that. I could have tagged it to just Titusville. And technically with WordPress, it would have shown up in Florida and North America. Again, I'll have to check with my CrocoBlock build or what we did in the course. But most of the time with WordPress, it'll show up in these. So North America could technically have 0 and 0 specifically tagged, and it would still show up with items. Right. And that's like been an old WordPress forever. Like, again, I'll have to check with CrocoBlock what mine is doing, because I actually assigned these, but.
So you manually created all of those, right?
I did this
from the back end or from your form?
So actually both. So I tried both. But I ran into issues with so what happens if the state isn't here, right? So right now I only have waterside states. I probably have 6 or 7 states in North America. So I ran into an issue where I don't want to add all the states, like even though it's only 50, if somebody were to select that state and nothing pops up. So I didn't like that. So right now mine is a manual solution for my site on the front end. So you pick a region, but then you put in the address, and from that address, I'm manually putting that in. I could do it automatically where they type in, hey, what is your, but the thing is with worldwide, it's not what is your state anymore. It's what is your state, region, town, village, and then what is your sub-region, sub-town, and we call it city. So it got really weird with a worldwide directory on how I could do that without auto-generating anything. And at that point, I could look at auto address complete and see if I can get the fields from that, but I haven't experienced that much. Now, on some of these closed directories, like for location, I recommend, you can pop in every city, or as you get the cities, put them in. But for a worldwide directory, there's a different terminology, right? I could say location 1, location 2, location 3, but I think that it got confusing, right? So it was region by location and by location. And again, I couldn't just say city, even though that's what I call them.
Yeah. So this is exactly how I made my search the directory page as well. And so instead of your region and location and the other location, I have state and city. So putting in states was easy, like 50 states, but then there are almost like 1,900 or almost 2,000 cities in the States. And then before committing to making manual entries of all those cities, I was just trying to figure out if there is an automatic way, like, I'll just import the listings and everything will get populated. And then,
Importing will handle it as long as you set up the hierarchy on your import. Again, so like you'll do the hierarchy on your location, and that should be fine. The problem, again, I ran into is user submitted content sometimes sucks. Like I hate to say that, but like if I type in Orlando, but then the next time I type Orlando and forget the O or have it misspelled.
Yeah.
Now I have two locations. So again, it's just weird.
When you say type, where are you typing that? Under the search parameters?
So no, like on a submit form, right? If you're trying to, let's say, because you can't just do a select form. Select will only show you the things that I have, which, well, I mean, if you're adding a new listing and it's not in my listing, I mean, you would do what? So you allow somebody to, so my submit form should, and we're just thinking hypothetically, I should have my 8 major regions, which won't change. And then I allow them to put their first location and second location inside that region. And then manually, right? So I could submit those automatically if I wanted, and they would just go back there. But again, what happens if the misspelling, or what happens if somebody has one of those keyboards and they put the hyphen over the E? It's like all of a sudden I get a new category, and I'm not opposed to that. But again, I would like to. This is why I confirm all my listings anyways on my sites, right? It goes into pending, and I make any modifications, and I know I'm just looking for specific items.
Now, have you looked at JetForm Builder's auto address complete?
I've seen it, but I mean, is that gonna? So that's what I was mentioning in the second stage. Can I break that down into location based? Like, so 3 different taxonomies per location? Or not, 3 different.
Pull up their add-on, and you'll see that they clearly define it in their
Wait, it's address autocomplete. Whoops.
Oh, you're in the right area, but there you go. So you see, you type in, I mean, it obviously pulls, I think, from Google Maps, right? It uses that.
Yeah, but so you have that. What's wow, that looks like crap. But then you have the next step, right? So I'm okay with the address, right? The address I'm okay with, and yeah, this would be a simple solution. But what happens with my taxonomy? How do so this is business address. This isn't my taxonomy.
I see what you're saying.
But now the cool thing is, and the problem with around the world, and I just got to check real quick, because will this look? No. Oh, this is restricted countries and place to. Okay, so this is not what I need. But the next step is, so I have the business address, and yeah, we ask for that, and that's where I would manually just pick out their stuff and throw it in a taxonomy. The next step for this is, how do you get it so in this case, London, United Kingdom, and maybe that's it for this one. How can I get those into my taxonomy on the right? And you would think like, okay, I was like, all right, well, I'll just break this field down. Everything before the first question mark is my title, right? And you could move like a whole dynamic field based on that field and say, hey, the first up to the question mark is this. The second question mark is the city. The last question mark, everything after that would be like whatever United Kingdom is. I'm so oblivious right now. But the real problem is not all Google addresses look like this. And I know that from experience. Some won't have but one question mark. And it's like, so how do you justify the first one versus the fourth in one? It's messed up, man. It's messed.
There's no consistency. Yeah.
Like this would be cool because yes, it puts it in the format that I need, and it's gonna pull up on Google. So that's great for the address, but I need to now parse this and take it. But 4 pieces versus 3 pieces doesn't know when to stop.
I see what you're saying.
But we're looking for a solution.
And because, like you said, sometimes user submitted data is not consistent with the kind of formatting or the styling you are using. For example, some websites use 2-letter code for the name of the state, and some websites use the full name of the state. So I wanted to control that. And, while submitting a property, I was thinking, make 100 mistakes while trying to spell your property, that is fine with me. But then, I'll have a drop down of city and the state. So as soon as you select the state, then in the next text box, you'll have a drop down of the city. You'll
Yeah, but
select
then-
the city and then.
But then you have to predefine all those, and that's going to be a pain. If you were
Yeah.
just doing Florida, that might be easy, but you're doing 50 states to try to populate, and they've got glossaries out there where you could, but then you run into the issue. Well, I guess now you have the indexer, so you could hide the empty ones. My problem before was if it existed, you could search for it, and they've come up with a solution in CrocoBlocks that no longer does that. But when I first started with them, I would have 2,000 cities or 2,000 locations with nothing in it. So you would click on one, no search found. And then you click on the next and you'd be like, no search found. At some point, you're just like, screw this site, I'm out, right? That's why I don't use I don't like the IP stuff either. Hey, you are now in Cocoa, Florida. It's like, great, but this site doesn't have anything for Cocoa, Florida, so it's pointless. So I like to have pre-generated content for everything that you would expect to click. Matter of fact, that's a perfect example right here. When you see it on my site, you don't see a bunch of states. Why don't you see them? They've got lakes, but the reason you don't see them is because there's no content in there. So I'm going to save your whole search right now, because if it's not in one of these, you don't got it, right? So there's no, okay, I'm in Colorado. I want to select Colorado. Now, near me would be great. That's what me and Andrew were talking about. Like, that would be awesome. Okay, I'm in Colorado, but what about a 100-mile radius? Is there something close? But that's why you're not seeing, like, I don't have anything in Georgia right now. I don't, again, I just redid this site, but.
Yeah, and one more thing, when you created the form, I saw, like, your style was you created a location text box and where the user will enter his whole address. There was no, was there a field for selecting state and city?
I think I came back to that. So I broke that video up into 2 parts because we had problems with the taxonomies because I was picking the wrong thing, trying to learn that thing. And that's what I said in the first video. I was like, we're going to go with something new. Technically on my site, the way I'd like to see it right now is I probably will jump and use the auto address for, but keep in mind, so this has let's go to a shop in school because it's going to be a little bit more accurate with all the information. So a shop in school has a business address. That is what I would like to US autocomplete, just so this one is always 100% right. It's also generated here for this map pin. Other than that, oh, my business hours look like crap. Other than that, that would be completely it for the full generated text box that we had for business address, or for business address is what I like to call it. Now, what about the individual of Cocoa Beach and Florida? Well, I just put FL. Like, so I want to manually do that myself, right? Unless I come out with, which is what we're talking about now, a better solution, I'll just take this field and toss it in there, right? On a free listing, I'm not even worried about, well, I guess I am, because I still want them to show up in the taxonomy. I don't have a method around that, man. Again, because mine is worldwide. If I was doing state, no problem, man. I'll just throw in all the cities for that state and call it a day and let them select out of those cities. But unfortunately, I can do it 2 ways. I can ask for the state. So I have this one already. I could ask for the state again. I guess I could ask for the region again. I could ask for the city in text boxes, because I'm not going to do select boxes because, again, I don't have all that information in there. I feel like that information is redundant. So somebody asked me a business address, and then like right below that, like, hey, by the way, what's your city? By the way, what's your state? By the way, what region are you in? And I'm looking for USA, right? I'm not even looking for North America anymore. I eliminated those, and I'll put those in. And I know that sucks because that's a manual solution, but again, my other method is let them type it in and that gets submitted automatically. But now instead of Florida, I got FL, right? So I have 2 Floridas, I have 2 USAs, I have USA, North America. I don't like that either.
Yeah, that's so. What I will try now is I will remove one of the taxonomies. I'll remove city taxonomy, and then I will try and manually create subcategories of the states.
Yeah, that'll help you. Try a few and test it out.
Yeah, so I'll test and I'll also let you know what happens.
Anthony, do you have a better way to do what we're talking about there? Is there a, am I missing something?
Hang on a second. I'm sorry, because I had an email. What was that? Can you repeat what?
So is there a better solution? So I put in the business address and I'm good. I'm happy with that. How do I get a city, state, and let's call it region into that?
There is something I saw a while back, and I got to look for it, but there was something that helps you populate that data, and it's there's like a it's like a database of either from an Excel file or an actual company that provides you this data. I did this for a client once, and they
With
need to list.
glossaries, right?
Yeah.
With pre-made
Yeah.
glossaries.
Yes, exactly. And so
Yeah,
you
that's a
just
lot.
you have that data, and it's a lot of data. But again, I don't know what in terms of site speed, does it affect your site speed or not? But I'm actually I'll play with that and see over the weekend. if I
See,
get a
so dynamic visibility, it could work, right? My first question is, hey, what region? And it lets you pick 8. And then out of that region, it shows the glossary for the second location. For us in the United States, we go North America. The second thing would be a glossary of 50 states, not that bad. The third glossary, actually, third glossary would be based on what state you pick after that and list 1 million cities.
Yeah.
Right. And it would be nice if it was all one, like it would be much easier to do all one glossary than it would be to throw in, you know,
Multiple,
50
yeah.
different 50 CSVs for each individual state. That would pull up another glossary of cities for Florida. So I'll check into it too. Now that I'm glad we're on the same page, but it just seemed like a lot for a worldwide directory, bro. You know?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I definitely think that would be the best way to do it. Now, again, there could be a plugin that also offers this solution. I'd rather not go that route, you know, even though the manual method is probably our best because we have that more of a finite control. I've experienced a remotely similar problem. It's just, it was more for tax codes for every single place. And I think the client needed to be able to pull that information for all the locations in the entire world. And it kind of, you know, falls in that same criteria, right? Because it needs to be based on the person's address. And how do you get a person's address based on the location if they're everywhere in the world? And that's a large cup of tea to.
I think WooCommerce. So I don't know if it was for products, just because you're bringing up tax codes, but I think WooCommerce kind of handled that or something similar. You're probably not using WooCommerce.
No, we definitely wasn't using WooCommerce. It was more of a.
Hey, I gotta take
CTC.
off. My mom just texted. She just fell down the stairs and broke her ankle.
Oh shit!
She's 2 hours
Oh,
away,
shit.
so I'm not going over. But I'm about to call her for mutual support.
Oh damn, bro, handle that. Okay, no
All right,
worries.
guys.
Please take care.
Yeah, thanks.
Great talking to you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.